What's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you. Thank you for being here. Sorry for the late start. We just had a few technical glitches to get worked out, but everything's all good. I just wanted to let everybody know that, what do you guys think of that new intro? Huh? Got to shake things up this week. You know, this is the week of changing things up because we got to find a way to get something going right for the Seahawks. I figure time to start, break the old streak, get a new streak going. So new intro. I hope you guys liked it. You might notice I'm sporting a new look as well, inspired by the fellas coming up here. So, just trying to step the game up for you guys, and hopefully some of this will kind of translate into the Seahawks stepping their game up, you know what I'm saying? So we're going to get into this because we have a lot to talk about with this huge game, primetime Thursday night rematch with the Arizona Cardinals, who are flying high right now after winning in that Hail Murray pass at the end to DeAndre Hopkins. And couldn't believe that, man. But there they are sitting in first place, and we're suddenly finding ourselves in third. We're going to have to find a way to shake this up. All right, a lot of negativity in the air, so we gotta undo a lot of that. But we're gonna get into it with a roundtable today. Before we do, I got to do my usual thing, which is to ask you guys, please, if you guys are new here or if you just haven't done it yet, I would love it if you guys would smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, that notification bell, comment and share, and that does wonders for the channel. So I would greatly appreciate it. Alina Dahl in the super chat, thank you for your support. So here we are, you guys. It's a different looking roundtable because we've had a lot of just things kind of going on. Martin is unfortunately busy with school-related stuff. Brian Abker is busy with his move. He's going to be joining us after Thanksgiving. So we're bringing in a new guest. Some of you may have met him on my collab that I did on Monday, first time ever collab. But he joins us on the roundtable today to join with the fellas. So let's go around the table, starting at the top. We've got, of course, Squabo. Back to the show. Squabo, looking good. Thanks for being here.
Hey, man. Shout out to Norb for that beautiful new intro, man. I just posted it on all my socials. Norb is incredible with the technology and his ability to edit videos and create that stuff. Just incredible work, Norb. A brilliant idea, and I'm going to be copying it here shortly. So, excellent work.
Hey, imitation is the greatest form of flattery, they already say, right? So I'll take the compliment. But yeah, anything to do, man, to inspire more greatness with you guys, because I gotta give credit where credit is due, and there's noise in one of the mics. I'm not sure whose it is. Squeeze, can you try muting your phone for just a moment? Just wanted to check. Okay, yeah, it's definitely some noise coming out of Squeeze's there. But I wanted to say before I finish the introductions that because I'm gonna forget. But the trivias, which are a huge part of this roundtable show, a big part of it I owe to you, Noah, because you had Boelter already going on back when I joined your show for the first time about a year ago, right? It was about a year or so, maybe a little bit earlier ago, when I went to you guys' show in Green River. I met Calvin for the first time, and you didn't even have a YouTube channel yet. This is all it was still to get going. But you planted that seed about doing the trivia. Now it's become a huge part of the show, and then this. I'm sporting this. I've never worn a sport coat ever on a show before. And you guys, look how sharp. It's like Noah wearing the whole thing with the shirt and the tie, and Squeeze, Steezy doing the same thing. And, and our next guest also rises to the occasion. So I said, I got to step up my game. So here we are doing something I don't normally do. But let's continue down the list. Of course, we've got Steezy, Calvin Domingo, Steezy A. Smith in the house with the new headphones too. I like it. Looking good, man.
Always a pleasure being on the show, but thank you, Norb. I couldn't find my other headphones, so I had to rock with these today.
You didn't have to tell me that. You could just say, "Hey, man, I'm going with go with the more high fidelity appearance here." And so, last but certainly not least, I want to introduce the newest member. Some of you may not have seen him from my show on Monday, but I'd like to introduce the first time member or guest of the roundtable. Good friend of mine. We go quite a few years back. It's Coach Bill Marsh. Bill and I had the pleasure of working many years together for when he was a coach at the Eastside Catholic High School from 1995 all the way to 2006. Basically, we were his production team. We made some of the greatest, and I could say this without sound like I'm bragging, some of the greatest highlight videos ever produced at the high school level. And I had the pleasure of having this gentleman to be the guy who I got to answer to, who was always open to all my crazy ideas. And my crazy ideas, right? So he would be open to it. So a lot of the stuff you see now was inspired by stuff we got to pioneer, me and Mike Lorraine at Quantum Production. Productions, we got to pioneer working with this guy. So I appreciated the fact that you loved video. We did all mic'd up sessions with players, or mic'd on the field, mic'd you up on some things, and it was a pleasure. So, Coach Bill Marsh, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thank you so much. And Norb, you've done such a great job, and it's so fun to follow you and having known you for 25 years. And yes, we do go back kind of pre-YouTube. So I actually had to go find something for you real quick based on our collab the other day, which is a poster that you made about 20 years ago with regards to our season that we had.
Yeah,
so I can see there, but we had a great season. And every year you guys did a big movie mock-up of our highlight video, and then we created the movie poster. So it's fun to be here now in the futuristic age of great technology connections with one another.
And that was yeah, absolutely. That was a year your team, the Miracle at Meadowdale. We talked about that. One of the greatest comebacks from behind I've ever seen. What was the score when you're at the deficit? You guys were down. What was the score again?
Well, when I say we were down 35-7, I might lose my credibility. But then we came back and won 42-35. So great win to get into state. But I think both of us were both producing, and you were helping me call plays, and I was helping you produce things up in the stands at the same time. So ton of fun, and I just look forward to being here and seeing all the comments. I think people are ready to talk about a lot of stuff today.
For sure. So it's a pleasure to have you on here, and I just like the fact that you do bring that coaching perspective. So I love this. Everyone has different perspective on things, and I think you bring a lot to the table. So I'm looking forward to your analysis as we break down a little bit about the game we just witnessed on Sunday, and then this game coming up tomorrow. So let's get into it, Roundtable. As we always do, the first thing we start with is we talk a little bit about the game that just happened last week. So let's talk about that Rams loss 23-16, probably one of the ugliest games of the year, at least for Russell Wilson. I know you guys have thoughts, so I'm just going to kind of open it, and let's just talk. Let's just get it going on. I want to hear what you guys think of how that game went, and then we'll pivot and talk about what we got to fix to get a win against the Cardinals. So let's start with Squeezy. I always want to call you Squeezy. I get Squabo and Steezy mixed up. I call you Squeezy. But Steezy A. Smith, we'll get you going here first, man. So Steezy, you're up.
Man, I mean, obviously, I'm disappointed, just like all of us 12s. But look, we're getting Carson back. We're getting Hyde back. And so no reason to panic. I'm feeling pretty confident.
Is that I'm sorry to interrupt. Is that a for sure that we're getting Carson back? Because I know we're getting Hyde, but are they actually...
No, not Carson, but I think we're getting them back. Because, I mean, over the weekend, Adam Schefter did report, he's more likely than not going to play on Thursday. But even if we don't get him, we got Carlos Hyde coming back for sure.
Okay. I thought maybe you heard something I didn't hear, because I had not heard any confirmation. So...
Pete said it's pretty unlikely for Carson in press conference today.
Okay, all right.
Even though he practiced 2 days in a row?
Yeah, no, it's a push for him. It's more likely for Carlos. It's unlikely. Right. He's listed as questionable, but it's unlikely.
Doubtful.
Wow, okay.
That sucks, because I mean,
Carlos
Hyde is better than nothing, but Carlos Hyde is not Chris Carson. I think we all know that. But anyway, Steve, I don't want to derail your train of thought here. So continue on. Sorry, man.
But yeah, no, takeaways from that game. I thought our defense was okay. It was a little better than what it has been all year long. We only allowed 6 points in the second half. But I think on the offensive line, our offensive line broke down in the second half. We allowed 6 sacks on the game, but most of that came in the second half. Russell Wilson, once again, was just horrendous. For the first time all year long, he didn't throw a touchdown. Our running game was non-existent. The coaches failed to make adjustments in game. I think everything that could have gone wrong went wrong in that game. And injuries, I think I saw this one thing on NFL.com the other day. We're like the most injured team in the NFL. We're seeing so many guys on both sides of the football. And going into tomorrow, I guess with Carlos Hyde coming back, that helps. But Griffin's not going to play. Dunbar's not going to play. Poaches is not going to play yet again. And so we're still dealing with a horde of injuries. But overall, I mean, that game was it was ugly. I mean, a lot of things that we saw in the loss to Buffalo, a lot of those things flared up in that game against the Rams. It's been a theme all year long in all of our losses. The more that we turn it over, the less likely that we're going to win or have a shot at winning. And so, I don't know. I don't want to speak too much on that game. I'm very optimistic for the remainder of the season, but obviously that's something that we all want to put past us. And yeah, looking forward to tomorrow.
Let's go to our guest, Coach Bill Marsh. We talked about this game quite a bit on Monday, but again, this is new panel, new forum. Give me your kind of just overall take on what happened, what went wrong for Seattle against the Rams.
Well, I think we were just exposed in a lot of different areas.
Hey, Bill, your volume got real low for some reason. It was good at the beginning. It's a little low at the moment.
How about now?
Something got real crispy.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. That's okay. Let's see. I can't tell if hey Steezy, mute your. Are you muted? Oh, you are muted. Okay, so let's go. Yeah, Bill, let's hear your sound there.
There we go.
Oh, there you go. That's better. Yeah, you're good. You're good. All right. So, Bill, I
think,
TV.
You get past the midpoint of the season, you just start getting a lot of things exposed, and I think when you get to midweek and people are still looking backwards more than they're looking forwards, that's some serious issues, and you can't come out of the game and have your number one highlight be a 61-yard field goal. But I think some of the stuff we're looking at is the same things we've been looking at all season long with regards to the defense just open up way too many gaping holes. The same basic things that we've been seeing on offense, Russ getting pounded. No establishment of the running game. And so we're just having difficulties. I still got some technical stuff, Norb. I'll come back to you in a minute.
Okay. All right. No problem. Okay. So, Squabs, let's go to you, man. Your take on this game and, just sort of what went wrong for the Seahawks.
Norb, we talked about it a little bit before the show, and you gave me the okay. And I have a thought, and I don't have any sources on this. I don't have any official insider information. This is just me as someone who cares about, an individual, looking out for them, if you will. And whenever a topic like what I'm about to bring up is brought up, it shouldn't be joked about. It should be brought up very seriously, with respect. And honestly, like I said, I don't know this for sure, but I feel like Russell Wilson is depressed. And part of the reason that I say that, obviously we're in a pandemic. Russell Wilson came into the season super hot, had all the MVP expectations. Ricky on my show put $100 down on Russell Wilson reaching over 50 touchdowns after week one, essentially just because of how things were going and how it looked. Like, Russell Wilson has a lot of pressure on his shoulders, and it's easy to forget, he's a human too. Now he starts to lose games and go away from his identity, where the Arizona Cardinals game, we were leading the entire game and we ended up losing because of multiple late interception and a goal line interception, and Russell Wilson made a lot of mistakes in that game. So honestly, I feel like Russell Wilson has the potential to be depressed right now, and me saying that isn't enough. What we have to do as a fan base in order to help this, and I've already done this, and so I'm asking everyone that's watching this video, even though he might not read it, go to Instagram and go DM Russell Wilson and message him powerful, thoughtful, that we love him and that we support him no matter what. Because if he has that overwhelming feeling of acknowledgement and of love from all of us fans, even through his toughest point, that's going to help him get back to where he needs to be. Because looking at him in press conference, he looks sad. He looks like he's saying the same words, but he doesn't believe him quite as much. Listening to him after the game, watching him in the game, late in drives, it felt like no matter what, we just weren't going to win that game. Same with the Bills game. Late in the game, I didn't have the feeling that we were going to come back. I had the feeling that we were going to get close but not finish it off. And I think Russell Wilson's in a tough spot right now, and I want us to help him in that aspect. It's not enough to point it out. I think we should help him in that aspect. I saw him. While I'm saying Russell Wilson is depressed and we should support him, it's also important that we acknowledge that game's on Russ. Russell made a lot of mistakes in that game. There were times DK Metcalf was getting frustrated down the field because he was wide open at times. He had multiple touchdowns taken away by Russ missing a throw, and Russell hasn't been completing the deep ball like he has been at times. So I think Russell Wilson's in a slump right now. Our defense got better in the second half. We gave up a lot fewer points. The rest of our team is doing at least enough where if Russell Wilson's on his game and he's featuring DK early and often and finding Tyler early and often, which he hasn't been doing the last couple of games, I think we'll be fine. But I think Russell's in a slump, and as long as he is, so will Seattle.
Well, you brought up a lot of stuff there, and I think I'll start first with what you were saying about sending some positive messages to Russell, and whether he actually is depressed or if he's just in a slump or whatever he's going through. I think it never hurts as a fan base if we were to put our critic hats down for a second and be fans. I'm sure that again, as humans, these guys, I'm sure they read the bad stuff, but I'm sure they appreciate the good stuff. So if you guys feel like doing that, sending a positive thing that we believe in you, Russ, and we know you're going to get this done, and Russ, we trust, certainly it couldn't hurt. And so I would encourage everybody, if you got a player that you feel like you got to just sort of send some positive vibes, why not? Why not do it? You never know. He might actually check it out. He might not actually see it. So I'd say, as a fan, go for it and do it. Now, as far as... Yeah, go ahead, Bill. You want to respond to that?
I was going to piggyback on top of that. I think, as a coach who worked with a lot of different quarterbacks, there's a big difference between being in a slump and not being in the zone. And right now, I think he is not in the zone anymore. And if you've been an athlete, you know what it's like to find that zone, or as a coach to be in that zone. And I really struggle to try to think of a time when Russ has been in a position where he just has not been in that zone. Like we talked about the other day, when he's sitting over there on the sideline and he's less cheering on his teammates and he's more into the iPad, which he needs to be doing. But usually he comes off, he's talking to players, he's talking to coordinators, he's talking to Pete. And now I think he's just trying to find those answers. And so when you are not in that zone and you start getting frustrated, and again, we don't know what else is maybe going on, but you also have to carry the team. And when you look at most other teams, when the quarterback is not leading, you know right away who the other leader is on that team. I look at the team that's coming up. Murray's starting to take on some leadership as a quarterback, but when something happens, Larry Fitzgerald steps up and he becomes the consummate leader all of a sudden. When Russ struggles, who do we look at and go, that's the leader of this team? And it's not the guys that we think are the talkative guys like a Wagner and some of those others, because they lead by how they play, but we don't have someone else who can step up and get us back into that zone. And it's a struggle. I mean, it's a big time struggle when you cannot find that zone and you're trying to find other people who are helping you. And I'll get to some of the plays later that we ran that were just, I think he was really struggling maybe with some of the play calls and some of the things he was doing, because the throws he was making to the players he was throwing to, wrong player, wrong position, wrong time. And now he's just trying to force plays to get himself out of that zone. It's like the 3-point shooter that will try to shoot themselves out of the zone. They shoot themselves back into the zone. Football's a lot tougher to throw yourself back into that zone. So I agree with you 100%. He has more than, it's not the physical attributes. We know Russ has the physical attributes. There's something in the limitless mindset that he has that I think is causing him some struggles.
So, obviously we're on Russell Wilson. Let's keep it on him, because obviously he's the focal point. The defense has been the defense. I think what's most concerning at this point is that we've known the defense has been not good since the beginning. I mean, it was already struggling even when we had our starters in, and now without our starters, it's just kind of continuing to do what it does. Like, even though we did kind of hold the Rams a little bit more at bay at the end of the first half, but or in the second half. But let's talk a little bit more about Russell and get a little bit more detail in it. Squabba, you said this is really on Russell Wilson, that this loss is really more on his shoulders than on the defense. I can make the argument that it's on his shoulders because of the fact that A, we don't have a running game, that B, we have a defense that he can't trust, and so he feels like he has to do more than he's supposed to be. And I think every player will talk about anytime you feel like you have to do more than what your job is, you're causing problems. If you're a tackle and you're supposed to stay in that gap and you feel like, oh, maybe if I help out over here and try to slide over and make the tackle here, and then you suddenly vacate your position, you're causing a problem instead of helping by staying in your lane. I think right now it feels to me like Russell feels like he's got to do too much. The weight's too heavy for him. And now add to that all those things I just brought up, add to that a line play that was, I won't say stellar, but it probably better than expected for the first 6 to 7 games. But since that Arizona game, except for the 49er game, Wilson has been under constant attack. And I can't help but think that when you are being hit as much as he is, when he is being just feel like he doesn't know where it's coming from. It might be coming up the middle. It might be coming from the right. It might be coming from behind. I think that's why he's out of that zone. So that's my take on it, but we're going to have to talk about how we can get it fixed. But, there's a couple of plays in there that, we definitely want to talk about. I want to get your guys' takes on. But let's stick on the fourth. Let's stick on the Russell Wilson side. Steezy, just what do you think? What is it that's going on with Russell Wilson in your mind?
You know what? I think Noah's right. Obviously there's no basis to really go off of, but, you kind of look at the little things and, all you guys have made points, on the sidelines instead of, clapping guys up and cheering guys on and saying, let's go, let's go, let's go. He's sitting there by himself on his iPad, just, keeping to himself. That's usually not him. And he never throws turnovers. He rarely turns the ball over. I mean, we've seen him, his first 8-9 years of his career high for interceptions is 11. He's never lost more than, I think, 3 or 4 fumbles in a season. And so I think his play speaks for itself, or it speaks to what Noah was talking about. I mean, he just hasn't looked like himself. So obviously something is going on. But I think that as we continue to get healthier, hopefully that changes. And I don't think it helps that we have to bounce back right away and have to play on a Thursday night game. But I mean, it was on the schedule and it has been on the schedule for a while now. So I hope and I pray that, things get better for him, whatever he's going through, he's able to get past it. I mean, he is a God-fearing man, as we all know. He's very religious. And so hopefully he turns to that and continues to keep the faith, because we're all going through a little bit of something, like obviously the world, 2020 itself has just been a bad year, all around. And so, he got some demons that he's facing, that he's fighting, but I have full faith in him and in the people that he has around him. He has a loving family. He has a great family. He has a great fan base. He has a great team, a great organization, a great culture, a whole lot of beautiful and wonderful people in his life. And I have no doubt in my mind that, they won't be able, or that they'll be able to get him right. And so, I think right now what we can do is, pray for him, send him messages, uplift him, inspire him, motivate him, and kind of get him right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we need a little bit of positivity. It's so easy to hit somebody when they're down, right? I mean, just look at just Twitter, any feed. Look at the comment feed here, right? I don't know how many times I've seen fire Carroll, trade Russell Wilson. It's like, how much have you guys been watching, right? It's like people have such short-sighted memory, short vision. I think, again, we're spoiled as a fan base, because for us, the idea of losing 2 games is like, what's going on? The sky is falling, when other teams losing 2 games in a row is like normal. So for us, when that happens, you feel like we got to fire everybody because you want to blame somebody. But the problem is, this is a problem you can't just fix by just, we don't like this, let's just get that person I don't like out of there and put somebody better in there. You're not going to find anybody better in there. Even if you were looking, you're not going to find somebody better in there who can just replace it. So I do want to talk about, Bill, you mentioned some specific plays. I want to bring up a couple of plays that have been talked about to death, but the fourth down, a lot of people look at the turning point in that game was not going for it on 4th and inches when we had the ball at our own 40-something yard line, and instead of going for it, we punted it away. I want to get your honest take at the time. What your thought was? Should we have gone for it at the moment when it happened? Obviously, afterwards we all were like, oh, should have gone for it because defense let him go get for a touchdown. But at the moment, did you feel like it was a good or bad call? And just your reaction to that very controversial play. Let's start with you, Squabo.
I agreed with the play call. I'm one of the guys, like, I want to trust our defense in that scenario. It was right before the half, wasn't it? And, we had an opportunity to, get a stop and go to the half. But
I thought that was the third quarter. Wasn't it third quarter?
Was it third quarter?
It was third quarter.
Regardless, it was right towards the end, right? And it was an opportunity for our defense to step up. And, I trusted our defense in that point. Let's not go for it until we have to, at least in most scenarios, unless we can catch them off guard. But, Norb, do you mind if I go in a little bit? Because you kind of rebutted my thoughts on the Russell Wilson thing. And I think you brought up a really good point that I think we should go into a little bit more.
All right.
You said with Russell Wilson, and you actually talked about what I've been talking about every single week. Every single week I've came on here, and I've said that Russell Wilson just needs the support. Like last week, people tried to blame Russell Wilson for the loss at the Bills, and I was pointing to, and for the loss versus the Cardinals the first time, and I was saying essentially like there are specific plays directly before mistakes that Russell Wilson has made that has led to those plays. Well, unfortunately, Norb, this is the first game where Russell Wilson, in my eyes, really made some just uncharacteristic, horrible decisions that were completely indefensible. For example, that first interception where he was looking for Will Dissly in the back of the end zone when he had plenty of space in front of him to run. That's just a horrible football decision, in my opinion. And he acknowledged it. Coaches acknowledged it. He had no defense. Nobody has defended that pass because it was just simply a bad decision. And in this game, I saw a couple of times where Russell Wilson's just making bad throws, making bad plays, and the guys around him are getting frustrated because of it. DK Metcalf, I can't stress this enough. We were talking last week about how big of a game we thought he was going to have. He was open to have some of the games that we were talking about. The difference was Russ wasn't hitting him. 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in the game. Russell Wilson was unconnected. He was uninvolved offensively, and that was the problem. He was out of his sight, and this game, in my opinion, really was on Russell Wilson. The rest of our team, the defense in the second half picked it up. Jamal was making plays finally. We had guys making plays. We had guys getting open. Russ wasn't finding them, and it was demoralizing for our team, and I think that's why this game really goes on Russell Wilson.
And he admitted to it, like you said, that that play where he should have ran it, he had wide open spaces, easily would have gotten the first down, could have scored the touchdown. Either way, I think that was more pivotal than the fourth down call, because the fourth down, you never know what's going to happen. Are we going to score? You're not even at midfield. But that play, we were in the red zone. We were going to score at least a field goal, possibly a touchdown, and we were in one of the best positions of the game. And then to turn it over at that point was really a backbreaker at that point. And that was the one that happened right before the end of the half. Brutal. I mean, that was just definitely very brutal. And that one for sure is on him. But yeah, just a rough game. And then then later you didn't even talk about this one, but where he turned the ball over after we got the sack fumble and got the ball, turned it right back over to the Rams. So every time there was an opportunity, it just backfired. It just immediately went back to the Rams. And so we didn't capitalize. And of course, we still lost the turnover battle. So yeah, I think it goes without saying that this was definitely, on Russ, his worst game of the year, and probably in a while. I think he had a 58% passer rating, 58 passer rating. It was not good. It was definitely not good. But but so you agreed with the call. You would have kicked it on fourth down. I want to see what the other guys think. Coach Bill Marsh, what's your take as a coach? What was your thoughts as you saw them line up for the field goal or the punt? Were you thinking this is good or we should go for it?
Well, as a coach, I was always of the mindset that anytime we were past our own 40-yard line, we were always in a position to possibly go for it. Now, I think the mentality, we've talked about earlier how Coach Carroll is more of a defensive-minded coach. So even though we're in an offensive position, thinking about do we go for it on something in inches, I don't think the score was indicative of really how well our defense was playing, and I have plenty to kind of look at to kind of back that up. So while we may be looking at it thinking, geez, we're close, defense, we think we're playing well, so we should go for it there. I think that Coach Carroll might be thinking, I know our defense pretty well. I know the scheme I've been running for, the last decade. We're not playing as well as maybe we should. So to risk going for it there, maybe his mindset is we're better off punting, make them go, 70, 80 yards, where the percentages are a lot less than having a team, if you don't get it, now a team's only going 40 yards, and now they've got a quick score, and you put yourself in a really bad position. I want to hit on another piece as we come back to that on the Russell part. I think one of the things that he really seems to play well when he's moving quicker and the offense is moving quicker. So we've kind of picked up this thing on, Russ cooking. At times I'd like to actually see them put him in the microwave in terms of let's pick up the tempo. Let's get things moving along. I mean, when is he at his best? The final minute of a game. But we wait till the end of the game or when we're in trouble to do that versus putting him in a position. And I'm not talking have a big play and immediately run up to the line of scrimmage and run a play. I'm talking about knowing that you go into a series or you come out of a quarter and you say, this next drive, we're going to go up tempo, we're going to go fast paced, we're going to let Russ call the offense. I mean, I was doing that with my high school quarterbacks, giving them the freedom because they can see the field north-south. They can see things that even the guys up in the booth can't see. So let a veteran do that and let him run stuff. So, I so wish that, when we're talking about getting a guy out of a funk, we can't get him out of the personal funk that he may be going through outside of the football field, but on the football field, it's not necessarily plays all the time. Sometimes it's just a matter of giving him an adjustment that's just different, that placates to where he's playing at his best. And I think we'd all agree that he plays at his best when the tempo is quicker, as opposed to slowing it down, wait until there's 1 second on the clock. just gets him thinking too much. And he's an ad-lib guy, right? He's a freelance guy. So I would love to see us do that a little bit more as my suggestion of how I think we could help get Russ out of that if I was coaching. So
well, and I think
I'm going up tempo.
Yeah, and we've been doing these roundtables in the offseason. Have we not been talking about that even before Let Russ Cook was a thing? We were saying I'd like to see some 2-minute style offense somewhere outside of the 2 minutes. And it seems like usually good things happen when they do that. I totally agree with you. At this point, why not? Let's get something to jumpstart. We need some kind of a spark. And Elena McCullum, one of the mods, says herself too. I've been saying this. Clap, 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 clap. Fully agree with what you're saying, Bill. I think we are all hungry for that because more often than not, Russell makes some magic happen. Where like you give him 80, 85, 90 yards and a minute and a half, you feel pretty good about our chances of him getting at least in field goal range and maybe into the end zone. So
we've been saying that for years, right? I mean, yeah. We knew that Edgar Martinez needed to be in the number 3 slot. We knew that Gary Payton needed to be, lobbing it to Sean Kemp. We all seem to know that Russ is best when he's going, hurry up offense. Yet that seems to be the one thing that the coaching staff doesn't see. And again, we're not all out there every day studying everything else. But man, oh man, I got to believe if you ask Russ his opinion, he would say, let's move quick with the athletes we have on the outside to help our offensive line, to help the others. And you can't give us the excuse that, we're going to play defense more. Well, we're already playing defense shabby as it is. So let's try to score and outscore them and get more and, get the energy, get the mojo back by doing that up-tempo offense.
Could it be argued, though, that they don't want to do that because if you go up-tempo, your defense, you're moving the ball. Let's say you do score quick or you get down the field, but then you hit a wall and don't complete it. All of a sudden, your defense, who's been out there for 10 minutes on the previous drive, suddenly they had to go back out there after a minute and a half, 2 minutes of this up-tempo offense. Could that be another reason why they're trying to slow it down because they know their defense is already taxed and very tired? Could that also be a reason why they don't want to go that route?
Well, I've never bought into that mindset. I know a lot of people do think that, but in terms of, if they go out there and make a play, then they could be out there for one play and then get the offense back out there, right? If they play better defense, they strip the ball, they get some sacks, they make some things happen. You could argue that the offense is out there for 12 plays, and if the defense gets the interception, do you ever hear anybody say, well, the offense was just out there for 12 plays, they're going to be tired? No, they're going to be amped when they go back out there, right? So I'd rather give us the chance and let's learn to play better defense and make some plays, and we'll get to some specific plays later. I think that's what's hurting us when we run some plays that are just brutal scheme wise from my perspective. And so if we're only out there 2 plays and throw an interception, what's the difference, right? We might as well play that up tempo. So that's my counter to it. It's a good point, but that's my counter to that.
Well, the other counter to be is, well, just get in shape, guys. If you're tired, well, then I guess we got to do a few more up and downs and laps around the track, apparently, because you guys aren't in good enough shape to run with this plan.
They can all invest $1 million like Russ does. And,
$1 million on his body. I guess we all got $1 million to pay for all that. I want to get Squeezy's take on the 4th down, but before we do that, I wanted to mention a story, a little anecdote. So I was doing my usual game simulation on Madden yesterday. I played 2 games against the Rams or the Cardinals, for crying out loud. I played on All Pro, which is, again, prefaced by saying I only started playing this year, so I am a rookie. So I started in rookie mode, did very well easily, and then I started playing the pro mode. I thought I was feeling a little confident. Let's go all pro, take it to the next level. I got beat down like 37-7 or something like that. So I thought let's rematch and put it more at the level I'm good at. Went all pro or went pro. It went to an overtime finish. You guys can watch this video. You can see it. It's very nerve-wracking. And I ended up losing the toss. So here's what happened. I was down to the 2-minute drill, and I was down a touchdown. I needed the score to tie the game. I got the touchdown through DK Metcalf, crossing route into the end zone. Beautiful, right? And everyone said, go for 2. Go for 2. Win the game right here. And I was like, I wasn't feeling confident. I was like, man, if I do that and I don't make it, I'll be like going, man, I could have given myself a chance. So what I do, I kick the extra point. It's good. Go to overtime. I lose the toss. Arizona gets the ball. The chat's already saying it. Oh, God, Norb's on defense. And what happens? 5 plays later, I think they just ran the ball and not Drake, but the other guy, he breaks off, right tackle, end zone, touchdown, over. So it's weird, man. I found myself thinking I should go for 2, But the part of me thinking I should just get the points and play for another down was telling me and overrode that decision. So at the time when we didn't go for it, I can't say I didn't disagree with the plan, although my defense, me playing defense, was just as bad as Seattle's been playing, so obviously couldn't hold it. So I got to take it back to Steezy. I haven't asked you the question. Would you have gone for it on that 4th and inches play with the ball at your own 40-something yard line? Did you like the play or not?
Real quick, I do want to address this. I like what Coach was talking about, when he was talking about up-tempo, because I know it's a small sample size, but taking the page out of Noah's book, he's always referring to that Cleveland game from last year when Russell Wilson took over and started calling plays. And what do? We scored. And every single play was just, you would think that an offensive coordinator was calling those plays, but no, it was Russell Wilson calling plays. And it was all because the headset broke and he started, dictating things and calling things. We're running up-tempo. And like you guys said, good things always happen when we go up-tempo. And so I thought that was a great point by Coach. But Norb, to answer your question, actually, I disagree with you guys. I thought that we should have gone for it. Look, it's 4th and inches, and I get it. Russ is in a slump, but our offensive, our identity this season has been through our offense. Like, we've been an offensive-focused team. And so when you don't go for it in that scenario, when we've been in a slump all game, who knows? What if that's the spark? What if that's the turning point of the game? I'm willing to take my chances on that. And being that we are an offensive team this year, what does that say about the offense on a 4th and inches scenario that, I don't trust the offense to convert? It's 4th and inches. We still got playmakers out there. Russell Wilson could have gone in for a sneak. We could have just, threw a little screen pass to DK and kind of let him do his thing in space. We could have gave it to Tyler Lockett on a slant. I thought we had a whole bunch of options. We needed the spark. We needed some points. We needed something. And so that's why I'm not with the mindset of let's just, punt it. And I understand, like, when you punt it, the opposing team, they don't have as high of a chance, of scoring the football, especially if they have to start at their own 20 or if they have to start at the 20, 25-yard line. But, we needed something. We needed the spark. And I still think that for all the struggles that we've had on offense in the last couple of games, our identity is the fact that we're an offensive team. And so what does that say about the offense if we don't have that confidence in the offense to convert on 4th and inches? I've seen worse teams out there that go for it on 4th and inches all the time. And so that's why I kind of stand with that.
Yeah, we kicked the ball. We punted it to the 12-yard line, so they went 88 yards and scored a touchdown the following drive. And I think now it's become to that point to where this defense is just so you can't count on them that it doesn't matter if you put it at the 1-yard line. I'm not at this point confident anymore that they're going to be able to stop the team from getting all the way down 99 yards into the end zone. But so maybe from this point on that changes.
Tough. But I think, I've heard so many people say, we could have done quarterback sneak. And I think, you have a rookie out there playing center. And then a lot of times you don't know what's going on with the line. A guy has a hurt knee, a hurt ankle, and they don't share what's happening. We just haven't proven that we're that great on short yardage plays. Now, if we want to do a little sprint out or do something, a little read option, give ourselves a little bit better chance, and I'd be for that. But I think the idea of a quarterback sneak with Russ not being the tallest guy and being able to reach the ball over like Brady does, probably not the highest percentage play for us to run. So I'm not saying I don't agree with us going for it. I think we could go for it too. But I wouldn't say quarterback sneak would be the best play, and especially against one of the top 3, 4, or 5 defenses in the league. The way they were, they're pretty stout with what they do just with 3 and 4 guys they were getting to us and stuff, and us, let alone if they were to put 7 or 8 in the box. But if we were to sprint out and do something different, then that's a risk worth taking, like you said, if we're going to give up 88 yards anyway.
Well, I still disagree with the play or with the idea of going for it just in general. I think if we were to go for it, I still believe we have a chance of getting it. I agree with Coach that our 4th and short play calling has struggled at time. And when we pulled out the quarterback sneak against Buffalo, it worked great, but that also was just on film a week ago. So, they're going to be fresh. They might be prepared for that. What I think about this scenario, though, and honestly, I have to say, I think Pete Carroll knows some stuff that we don't. I'm sitting here from a fan perspective and a little bit of an analyst perspective, but mostly a fan, and I'm looking at Russell Wilson, and I think that he's depressed. What do you think Pete thinks? We look at what happened last week with Buffalo, and how many times did we have the ball with a chance to go down and come back in that game? It turned into a turnover that immediately turned into a touchdown, and it felt like the game was over. Pete Carroll knows Seattle is going to be in the game late in the ball game no matter what. Let's allow ourselves to be in this game and not shoot ourselves in the foot right now when we know it's going to be close later. We still had a chance in this game all the way down the stretch because we didn't overcompensate. And yes, they did go all the way down on our defense, but does that just mean we should give up on our defense? We have to give them an opportunity. I think Pete Carroll looked at that scenario and looked at Russell Wilson, who has been struggling with confidence and struggling in this 4-game stretch where we've lost 3 of the 4 games. And I think he looked at Russell Wilson like, okay, what happens if we don't get this? I want to believe that we will, but what happens if we don't? They go down and they score, and now Russell Wilson is even more in his head because he couldn't get 4th and inches, and the deficit is even bigger, even more pressure on his shoulders. So I still support the decision. I would understand going for it, but I think Pete knows Russ a little bit too good for that, and I think Pete knows Russ is in a slump.
It's a lot of mind games. There's such a mental part of the sport and this is definitely a test. I think it's a test for fans. It's a test for Russell Wilson. It's a test for the coach, the coordinators, and one thing. Playing Madden, you could just look at it, that's just a stupid game, right? But man, it is amazing how when you have to be the guy making the choices, making the decision. The coach, you're a guy who's lived it, so I'm pretending. We all pretend, but you actually did it. But you got to be thinking 1 play, 2 play ahead. Do I pass here? Who's what's going to be the play that I think is going to work? I don't know how much is figured out. I'm sure they script a lot of that in advance. But once they get into the meat and potatoes of the game, you're just trying to see what works with matchups that you got, and and kind of the way the ebb and flow. But it's tough, man. It's so stressful, and it's hard to make the right call because you're trying to process a million different decisions. Share some of that thought process from your standpoint when you're in the heat of it. Because Bill, it's just so easy. It's so easy for us as fans to go, fire the coordinator, fire this guy, fire they suck, blah blah blah. And not to say that these guys shouldn't do their job because they're paid a lot to do it, but the reality is it's not as easy as it looks, right? You can't snap your fingers and come up with a solution. It's tough, right?
No, and that's why they're calling it that's why they call football a chess match and some of the other sports, because you are trying to think 3 and 4 or 5 moves ahead. And in the game of football, you're actually thinking, even a half or 2 or 3 quarters ahead. So there's been times where, I would run a play in the first quarter that I know everybody in the stands was wondering, why am I doing that on 3rd down? But I knew that I needed to see something now to dictate whether I'm going to run a play in the 3rd quarter or in the 4th quarter, or do they give us a look that we want and maybe I won't come back to it. And that's been some of the frustration that I've seen for myself watching these games as a coach who tries to watch it as a fan, but I can't help but watch it as a coach, is that I'll see plays that we run early on that we don't come back to. And so if we run a play that has success, I want to see us come back to it in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be the exact same play, but at least run the same kind of design. But there's also times where you might run a busted play, and sometimes you need to keep coming to that until you get the look that you want or they change up. Great example of that is when we played San Francisco years ago and won the NFC title game. They had run the same zone play with Marshawn Lynch 12 times in the game for 10 total yards. But it was the final time that they ran it that he ended up busting it down and getting close to the end zone. So sometimes you have to trust in something early on and then come back to it. And we just don't stick with it, or we don't come back to it. We ran a great sweep play in the game where we pulled some guys around and then it didn't come back to it. To where when I'm watching the Rams, I'm watching the Cardinals, I'm watching others, they either run a complementary play to something they run in the first quarter, or they run a similar play that was successful early on. We just don't seem to come back. And this has been a thread kind of for the last couple of years, where we just don't run, in high school, you could run a play over and over and over again. At that level, you got to wait a little while. But people are usually always calling a play at the NFL level to set up something. I just don't see us doing that. I think we get frazzled. And there's one particular play that I'll talk about in a little bit that I'm not sure what we were thinking, what Russ checked to or what have you. That was just absolutely befuddling. But I think it was similar to what we ran.
Talk about it now, because we're going to pivot to the Cardinals here. So I want to hear this play.
So basically, we were in a trips formation. It was the interception, Russell's interception when he was throwing to Olsen. Basically, we were 3-by-1, 3 receivers, one to the other side. So we had Metcalf, Moore, and Lockett. And then on the single receiver side, you had Olsen and Wilson was in a shotgun. press coverage had come up on DK, and DK was having struggles. So obviously Wilson saw something and he checked out of it. Now here's the struggle that I have. I don't have a problem so much that he threw it to Olsen. What I do struggle with is you have Lockett coming on a hard drag across the line of scrimmage. So he's the inside receiver on the trips receiver side. He comes wide open across really quickly. They are only rushing 4 people. They had 1 down lineman and 3 guys standing up, and only 3 total came in a delayed blitzer. So we're blocking 5 to their 4. Plenty of time, but Russ gets rid of it quickly. So he can't see what's going on. He's sensing the ghosts are coming around that we talked about on Monday, right? Like, I felt it all game long. They must be coming real quick. So what does he do? He throws what we call a lazy roll route, where Olsen, instead of running a 7-yard hard cut to the outside, he runs a darn near 12-yard route, but it's a lazy out route on a DB who's off him by 7 yards. Well, that fast, 4.340 DB, he's going to break on that ball quicker than anybody. So they have the mismatch from the get-go, yet Russ never comes and looks to this side. He gets it, turns, and he's already got the ball in the air before Olsen doesn't even make a cut. He makes the lazy out route, and so we get the interception. So the moment the throw's made, he's making it, but it starts all the way back at the beginning, where when he checked the play, I thought for sure he was going to run something quick to Lockett or to Moore, because the guy was 12 yards off of Moore. But to have 3-by-1 and come to to Olsen, again, no problem coming to him, but the scheme and the route was so odd, and the fact that Russell just seemed so just rattled when he doesn't look that way. And same when he threw the interception earlier. But that particular play, when there's only 1 down lineman, and as an offensive lineman, you want to see guys standing up. You see a linebacker standing up in front of you, you have a better chance to block him than a down lineman who's low, because they say the low man wins, and he's going to come around the edge. So to not be able to block 4 with our 5, which we actually did, we created a good pocket. Flip side to that is when we were on defense, there was a time where we only were rushing 3 and then there were 4, and we brought Wagner up to the line of scrimmage, and he stood right in front of the center, and his blitz was right into the center. So all 5 of their guys were blocking all 5 of our guys, and Goff just sat back there for a good 3+ seconds, picked it apart, easy throw. So it's those little things that, again, big thing on the interception, but that just makes it look like things are really out of sorts when we're just not, Olsen's good, but we have 2 other guys that we should be throwing to.
And to add on top of that, I think he looked at Olsen the whole way. I mean, he didn't even try to look somewhere else to at least give let the secondary think about where he's going. He was looking at Olsen. His eyes told the whole story.
What we wanted Russ to do, what we talked about on Monday, was we want that quick passing game, right? Where when the pressure is coming against blitzes, get the ball on the gun and throw it right away. Don't sit there and throw. That's why the stats you'll see on a few different sites is that Russ is responsible for 4 of the 6 sacks, meaning he held the ball too long at times. But this time he actually got it and got rid of it quickly. But he got rid of it quickly on a route that was pretty long to a receiver who's not necessarily slow, but he's definitely slower than his opponent. When you have Lockett coming quick across the slant, and then you had also Moore ran a 5-yard square in. So you had 2 guys that are within, the total range of the throw is only going to be about 10 yards total. And instead he threw the route that really is about 25 yards from where he threw it from to where he's expected to catch the ball on the sideline against a non-press DB who's able to come up on a tight end. He should see that mismatch right away. A high school QB can tell a DB versus a tight end is a mismatch against us, and we got Lockett against their, even if it's a dime cover guy, playing off. So, yeah, he looked at him the whole way. I think he lost some confidence in Metcalf. There's definitely some rub going on there that they need to fix, because you don't want receivers getting frustrated. You just don't want them showing it out there, and that's just his youthful exuberance, because they all want the ball. But they do some little things like that. But you're absolutely right. He stared that pass down the whole time. Just little things that Russ has not done in the past.
Yeah.
Well, and at least at Arizona, because Russell Wilson made a very similar mistake at Arizona in overtime. You remember that interception where he threw and it was like they showed blitz, but they dropped back?
Yeah.
I gave him a pass for that interception, not because it's a defensible pass, because it was a horrible read, but the play before it happened, DJ Dallas missed an obvious block, and he got blown up with no time. So he sees a blitz the next play, and he's expecting to have negative 0.5 seconds. He caught the ball and got sacked the play before. Yeah. So that play, I can understand why he would make that mistake, even though it was, a horrible pass. In this game, he's making reads like that, 2 of them, where the play before he didn't get sacked. And it's just what made you do that? And that's why I say this game is more on Russ, because he's making those those errors unforced, and that's the problem that I see with Wilson.
And the last thing I'll say real short is that a lot of times those receivers in that Arizona game, for instance, receivers have some choice routes to run, and I think Russ thought that receiver, and it can be on Russ, but it can also be on the receiver as well, where that receiver sees something coming, and maybe he was supposed to run a slant, instead Russ saw him go, or thought he was running a slant, instead he goes deep. So to us, it looks like, well, why did he throw it right to that guy? Why did he throw it to the defensive player for Arizona versus throwing to our guy? Well, maybe the receiver didn't run the right route, and like you said, he's already in panic mode because of what happened before. I mean, he's in great shape, but you get hit by a truck, it's not going to feel good. You're going to remember that 30 seconds later.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things us as fans, even as we're breaking this down, Coach, you see a lot of things that the typical fan doesn't see, but we only see the end result. And of course, if it's interception, of course it's always Russell Wilson's fault, right? It's always the quarterback's fault. And probably a lot of times it's not. It's something that the receiver didn't do or didn't run the right route or something like that, and it just goes on the stat sheet looking as a knock against the quarterback.
Well, I think it's fair to give him that, because when things are going right, I mean, this is Russell Wilson.
They get all the credit, yeah.
He's on the Mount Rushmore right now, right? So it's absolutely fair, I think, at times to say, he does have to take it on, and he takes it like a man. I mean, he does accept. Sometimes, I wish he'd accept a little bit more and not be as cliche with what he says. But he does it. He does it. So,
yeah. So I do want to pivot to the Cardinals game, but before we do that, I want to make sure: is there any other points that you guys wanted to address before we leave this game a bad, distant memory in the past? Is there any other points you feel like you wanted to address before we move to the Cardinals? We're good. Are we good there?
Well, I think just recognizing that, I know we've been talking about the defense, but, it's been talked about already. We are just historically bad right now. And there's, yards can be kind of somewhat, deceiving a little bit, because you don't know when they all happen. But when you are worst in franchise history in points, I got here points, total yards, and passing, throwing percentage, which to me is the big one. When a team is completing nearly 70% of their passes, that is something you have to fix. You just have to fix it, because we talked about, we haven't faced that upper echelon quarterback except for Josh Allen. If we're going to put him in that category a little bit, we have got to stop that. And I mean, that 4,000 yards, that's the third worst all time at this point in NFL history. So we're not exactly the 85 Bears. In fact, we're not the third grade Bears that played in Chicago that year. So, we need to pick things up a little bit and correct some stuff. And that doesn't mean I'm ready to fire Norton yet. No, we'll get to that. But, we have to fix things right pretty quick.
We're going to talk about how we see things game planning as we go to the Cardinals. But before we do that, we got to do our usual recap of the score predictions we made from last week. It was a small panel. I think it was only the three of us last week. So Steezy, Squabble, and myself. But we got to do it. So I'm going to play back our score predictions from last week. Here we go.
I'm going to say Seattle 36, LA 30.
38-33 Seahawks.
Final score, Rams 37, Seahawks 34. All right, so there you go. I was the only one on the panel to predict a loss, because I was sticking with my season prediction music video, which I did in the beginning of the year, where I predicted a loss, and unfortunately, I was off by the score a little bit. I thought it was going to be a higher scoring game, but a loss nonetheless. So we will do predictions for scores of this coming game here. It'll be interesting to see what you guys have to say about this one, but let's talk about it now. Let's go to the Cardinals now. So, short week. They played Sunday, and now we're playing Thursday night. Here's the table. This is what we got. We've got at least in running back injury-wise, we have Carlos Hyde. Unsure, probably more on the doubtful side of Chris Carson, which really sucks. Don't have our center again, right? Is that confirmed? We're not going to have our center again?
No.
Ethan Posick? No Ethan Posick. And on the defensive side of the ball, no Shaquille Griffin, no Quentin Dunbar. Anybody else? Oh, and then was that right? Tyler Lockett has a sprained knee. Did I hear that correctly?
He'll play.
He'll play, but is he going to be at 100% go like he was the first time we played him? I mean, just that's all we need now is our receiving core to start getting injuries. Hopefully, these guys are okay. Those are the main ones. Unfortunately, they're big ones, because when you're missing your key running back and your two corners, when you have a team with Kyler Murray flying high and DeAndre Hopkins out there on the other side making Hail Mary catches. It looks pretty daunting. I have to say. So let's jump right into this game. Start with you, Steezy. How are the Seahawks going to find a way to win this game? We could start on one side of the ball or the other, but let's see. Let's start with the hard side. We've been on Russ so much. Let's talk about the defense. What can we do to change our fates with the defense that we haven't seen through 9 games already? What can Seattle do with this undermanned, banged up secondary? In your opinion, what can Seattle do on defense to try to stop this Arizona offense?
It's a lot tougher than it seems, but we got to somehow contain. I don't think we can stop Kyler Murray, but we got to contain Kyler Murray. I mean, he is that Arizona Cardinals offense. Through 9 games this season, he has 10 rushing touchdowns already, and he leads all quarterbacks in NFL rushing yards. And I think that's one of the things about the rushing offense. People look at their rushing offense and say, like, oh, Kenyon Drake and Chase Edmonds, they're so good. But one of the reasons why the rushing offense is so good is because of Kyler Murray. He's so quick, he's so fast, and I understand it's hard to sack a guy like that. He's so small, but he's so elusive and so quick and so agile. It's really hard to get a guy like him down, but he's the driving force. He's the engine of that defense. You guys have said it in weeks past. I think that if we could, somehow not just blitz the guy, but let's, disguise our blitzes, kind of send out some exotic packages, exotic looks, try to disguise the defense. I mean, we're not going to have our cornerbacks. And so I think that DeAndre Hopkins, he's going to feast. And so I think that's kind of something that we have to accept, but we can still win the game even if DeAndre Hopkins eats, but we cannot allow Kyler Murray to just run wild like he did in the first meeting. I mean, I think he was the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for over 350 yards, and I think he rushed for about 70 rushing yards. And so, as I mentioned earlier, he is their offense. And so if we could somehow try to mix things up on defense, I mean, as we mentioned earlier, our defense did a whole better job in the second half against the Rams. They're a pretty explosive offense themselves, and I understand Jared Goff threw over 300 yards, and he completed almost 70% of his passes, but he didn't have any touchdowns. Receivers were shut down. Cooper Kupp wasn't there in the second half, and I was kind of surprised. I mean, we didn't have any of our cornerbacks, and so I think that if we're able to keep doing what we did in the second half of the Rams game, there were a lot of positives from the defense in the second half. Take some of those things, bring them into this game, and kind of just throw some different looks at Kyler Murray, because, I mean, he's just been eating this entire year, and he's definitely, I think, in the MVP race now. Russell Wilson, for me, he's completely dropped out of my top 3. And so Kyler Murray, I mean, once again, like I said, it's going to be a whole lot tougher of a task, it's a lot easier said than done. But we got to somehow get him confused, mix things up for Kyler Murray, and just try to contain him.
This is the challenge here, again, because they are such a unique team because of Kyler Murray, because he can obviously beat you with his legs. He can beat you with his arm. They can also run the ball, and they've got a great receiver. So their offense has so many facets to it. When we approached the game last time we played them, if I recall, the way they played it, they played a very sort of contain style. And I got to address the super chat. Duron Everest said, Norb, we got to trap the squirrel and take his almond.
Yeah, I got a piece for Darren on that one. I got a response from him.
Okay, I'm going to get to you.
When the time comes.
All right, so that's the challenge there, because, well, we didn't have Jamal Adams the last time we played him, right? But we know what Jamal Adams is best at. He's best at blitzing. We didn't really blitz Kyler Murray last time. We played more of the try to put a fence around him and have the secondary cover. Well, that didn't really work all that great. It wasn't very successful. We didn't get pressure on the quarterback. He was able to run a few times, able to pass quite a bit. So now if you're the defensive coordinator, Pete Carroll, what are you going to do this time? Well, Bill, you talked here, so let's go to you now. You can address that question about the trapping the squirrel, getting the almond. But what can Seattle do here? You're a coach. You're in the situation. Here's the chess pieces you have in your hand. Where do you put them? And what do you do scheme-wise to work with what you got?
Yeah, so Darren Everest, I think you're going to appreciate what I'm going to say here. There were a lot of times when we would play teams, and this is no offense to some of the opponents we would play, but we would wonder sometimes if they watched the film from the week before, from a standpoint of, they didn't change up or they didn't see something that somebody else had done to stop us and implement that into what they were doing. And the reason I say that is, if you watch the final few plays of that Buffalo game, right before Arizona has to punt, before their final drive that wins it, Buffalo comes with an all-out blitz. They end up sacking Murray. So they come with the all-out blitz. It works. They sack him. They contain the squirrel. They have to punt, but then right away they have to punt the ball right back, and now all of a sudden Arizona has the ball with 30-plus seconds left. So what does Buffalo choose to do? For the rest of the game, the last couple of plays, they rush 4 and drop everybody back out. So one of the plays, Arizona, they knew that they were going to sprint. It looks like that Murray is dropping back and then scrambling to his right on the play where he scrambles, and he kind of comes to the middle and then dumps it off to Fitzgerald on the sideline. Well, the moment the snap takes place, the center immediately sprinted to the right. So he's way outside the hash mark, looking inward, so if Murray does escape out, he can contain it. But he doesn't have to worry about it because there's only 4 guys anyway that are rushing. So the 4 guys took care of the 4. They got an extra guy. Murray's floating around. Now, this is where Murray's grown as a player. Instead of throwing it deep at that point, he gets an extra few yards from Fitzgerald. Next play, final play of the game, same thing. They drop everybody back, hardly any rush, but you just crushed him 3 plays earlier. And now Murray gets to run around to the point that Fitzgerald runs a sail route, which means you start from one side of the line of scrimmage and you end up about 30 to 40 yards downfield on the opposite sideline. And Fitzgerald gets there, but instead he throws the deep ball. And it's something I think we as fans have talked about forever when you're in that situation, why we get into that prevent. So do that early in the game. Like we've talked about, I'd rather lose because we are playing aggressive than because we're sitting back and not getting to him. Because they don't just have one great receiver, they have 2 of them. But let's force them into a position where Murray I'd rather see him drop back and throw the ball, and they picked up the blitz. If their 5 guys or 6 guys at the running back can pick up our 7 or our 8, then I'll jump on the Norton bandwagon too, because it means we're blitzing straight ahead at them and we're not looping and stunting and some of the things that we should be doing. But man, Darren's right on. We got to get to that squirrel, get the almond out of there. But the only way you do that is through blitzing. And because he runs that read option, like the last little point real quick, people are saying that he's the next Russell Wilson. Now, the good thing is we have Russell Wilson. But what Russell doesn't do anymore is the read option the way he used to do it. So nobody respects it because we don't have the running game. There were a few plays last week where Russ, he could have kept the ball and gone because nobody stayed with him. Well, Murray does it now, and even those guys who are trained professionals whose job it is to watch Murray while the other linebacker takes the running back, they're still taking the running back, and Murray's scooting around. So we have to make sure that we are doing our responsibility and blitzing at the same time. Those would be the two biggest things I would do, because Murray's got 1 touchdown passing and throwing for the last 5 consecutive games. So he's the guy you got to stop. Absolutely got to stop him. So
you got to blitz him. You got to be aggressive. We didn't do that much the first time around, so they're going to do it this time. Well, we've been doing it. Fortunately, the blitz has resulted in sacks. We got a bunch of them against the Bills and a couple against Goff, but we've also been badly burned by the blitz. So I think they've got to be very, like you said, creative with it. Just can't be a vanilla blitzing situation. I think they've got to become creative.
We have to be ready. We've been slow to the play on defense. I mean, our offense has been slow, but our defense is also slow to be ready, whether it's subs or what have you. Arizona ran some unbalanced plays last week where they had, center, guard, tackle, tight end, another tight end, Fitzgerald playing at the wing, and then they were in an offset eye, and they just ran toss sweep. So you got we call it 7.5 because you count the center as a half. 7.5 guys against 4 out there, and they're just crushing it. So they've gone from spread but they were running that real quickly. So if we're not ready to go and blitzing and getting our alignment, we're going to be in trouble, because that's the adjustment I think Arizona's going to make. They know they beat us the first time, but they didn't crush us. So they have to come up with some mix and match stuff, knowing that we're going to change things. And I think they're going to try to offset that blitz by doing some of those, those wrinkle plays that a Kingsbury is going to run. Young coaches like to do the razzle dazzle, run the trick plays, do some of those, and they have the athletes to do it.
Dukes of Hazzard in the Super Chat says, got to watch that number 11 guy, Fitzgerald. He might light up our defense. He's getting old, but he still can play. So, Squabo, your take. Defensively, how do you play this game if you're the D coordinator? What does Seattle got to do to get stopped or at least contain and minimize the damage?
Do you want only defense, or do you want all the keys for the game? Because I can give you both if you're ready.
I think we're focused on the defense right now. We'll get to the offense. Let's do that in the next round. So just start with the defense on this one.
Okay. Well, defensively, I agree with Coach that you got to blitz Kyler Murray. Part of the reason being that first Cardinals game where we had no sacks and one pressure on the game was the reason that we started bringing pressure and ended up going after, Carlos Dunlap and starting to improve our pass rush. And we knew it was going to get better, but we also changed some schemes at that point of our season because we realized, dude, this no pressure thing ain't fly. That is one reason why we definitely do have to get pressure on Kyler Murray, but it's not enough to get pressure on Kyler Murray. Coach, once again, you talked about how Bobby just lines up over the center, and as a former center, I'll tell you, when a blitzer lined up right on me, that was my favorite kind of blitzer. Like, okay, you're coming, great to know, you're not going to have a head of steam, and I can just pick you up. So we have to disguise our blitzes, and we have to disguise our coverages as well. Disguising our defense is what led to, or disguising of defense is what led to Russ being in the slump that he is right now. Let's disguise other teams' defense, especially considering the fact that for some reason, and I'm already on the fire Ken Norton bandwagon, because I feel like some of these adjustments and some of these shifts should have been made already. But considering the fact that, like you said, we have been chasing offenses all year long. We are behind the plays that are being made. If we disguise our coverages, we're more likely than not accidentally going to end up in the place to make the play, considering that we couldn't figure it out, but we're having guys move around defensively. And for a defense with as much speed as we have and as good tackling as we should be supposed to having, that could really help us defensively. So we have to disguise our looks. We have to run those blitzes where we're sending guys off of the edge, not safeties down the middle. Keep sending Jamal off that edge. Run the same look and run different coverages out of it. Run cover 3, run an all-out blitz out of it. And we have to disguise our defenses defensively in order to confuse the quarterback, especially with Kyler Murray. It's not enough to get pressure because eventually, if he is the next Russell Wilson, he'll pick up on that. So we have to show blitz a lot, and we have to cover out of it about half the time.
Yep. It's such a daunting thought when we have this defense of what we are asking it to do and the personnel that are there, because Jamal Adams can blitz. He can get there. The front four, we know, struggle to get to the quarterback. We've have moments, but it's still not consistent. We don't have standout cornerbacks. We don't even have our average starter cornerbacks. We're down to the second and third string guys in there. And our safety play is okay, and our linebackers, can be argued. Are they, Bobby, is he a step slow? A lot of people feel like he's just not quite the player that he's been all these years. So we're asking all these things for them to do with what feels like talent that is just they're so undermanned in what we need to them to do. But scheme can help that for sure. So now let's go to the other side. Steezy, let's talk about what we need to do on offense. We know we have an offense that is explosive. We were explosive against them the first time, but we know the struggles as of late. So how do we jumpstart it? We talked a little bit already about some of the ideas, but specifically against Arizona, how do we get this offense going so we don't see a repeat of what we've been seeing in all the losses that we've had so far? Steezy, your thoughts?
Well, the first time around, we had Carlos Hyde in the game, and I think Chris Carson played in that game before he got injured. So it definitely helps, that Carlos Hyde, he's definitely coming back, knock on wood. And then Carson, despite the fact that he's doubtful, he's still listed as a game-time decision. That was something that I picked up on earlier. And so, I know he's a tough guy. He's a warrior. This is a must-win. Who knows? Maybe he's just, he's like, man, I got to play. Maybe he feels healthy enough to play come tomorrow night. And so, there is still that chance. But I'm not going to overthink things here. We just got to run the football. I mean, Russell Wilson, he's been pressing, and as we've all talked about, because he doesn't have a run game. It's because, the defense. It's because of the inefficiencies of the offensive line. Well, let's keep things simple, and let's go back to run the football a little bit more. Now that we have Carlos Hyde, that's actually something that we could not only say, it's actually something that we could do. Keep in mind, Carlos Hyde was still a 1,000-yard rusher last time around, and the last time he played against the Cardinals, he had 15 carries, 68 yards, and a touchdown. Nothing special, but that's definitely more of a threat in terms of the ground game rather than Travis Homer, PJ Dallas, Alex Collins. Travis Homer's doubtful, so he's not even going to play in this game. But I think what we're going to get out of Carlos Hyde, we're going to have to not rely on him, but I think that, we definitely need to take some pressure off of Russell Wilson. He feels like he's had to do it all. He's been playing the role of Superman. And while he can do that, we don't want him to do that over the course of an entire 16-game season. We can't expect them to just win a shootout every single game of the season. And so my first key, let's just run the football. And are we getting into all of our keys, or are we all just kind of going turn by turn?
This is just kind of more of a general thing. I think we'll definitely summarize at the very end. We'll summarize it in our specific keys, but it's just more of an overall philosophy of how can we get out of the slump that we've been in. So, all right. Well, let's flip it to Coach Marsh. Offense. How do we get back on track here in this game?
Well, it's I want to be able to call the plays so that we can be a little bit more creative in what we're doing. So if it's, I think there's a difference between what I want and what I would see versus what they're actually going to do. I think if it's up to me, we're going to change the pace up, change the tempo. We're going to move Russ, get him sprinting out. He's great with those bootlegs. My favorite play they run is when they fake the bootleg and one of our wide receivers comes behind the line of scrimmage out into the flat. Just the really nice high percentage plays. Even though we love the vertical game, it's been great with Metcalf and he's been able to do that, but everybody knows that now. So now we need to do things like early on when Metcalf ran that route and we hit him across the middle, he ran down the sideline, and I think everybody thought he was going out and he scored. I'd like to see us just get high percentage stuff, looping back to the beginning conversation here of getting Russ confidence, getting him to feel good about things. It's okay, and we as fans have to be okay with 3 yards. We get very frustrated with 3 yards, but 2nd and 7 is a great position to be in. Although I like to actually throw the ball on 1st down and then let's try to get it on 2nd down a little bit. So bubble screens, slant routes, getting those trips and double quad formations and moving the things around and just keep it simple and get the ball out of Russ's hands quicker. Let's not get him hit 7 and 8 times early in the game. Get in the rhythm, stay with it, and know that as a fan, we're a type of team that likes to stay close and then win at the end. That has been Pete's thing forever, and he's loyal to what's worked for him. It worked for him at USC, except for when they're really dominating, and then it's worked for him here, right? Get the running game going, play decent defense, and then keep it close and let Russ win the game for us. He's going to want to stay with that recipe. We might not agree with it, but offensively, that's what I would try to do. Keep it simple, not vanilla, but just keep it high percentage, get the ball out of his hands, especially if we're starting different offensive linemen and such.
All right. Did I get everybody's offensive takes?
No.
Who am I missing?
Squabo, come on.
Okay, all right. I lost my train of thought. Squabo. All right, your turn here. The offense. What do we got to do, man? You had a lot of thoughts on a lot of things that we could do to help Russell Wilson. Now it's game time. What does Pete Carroll, Schottenheimer, and Russ need to do? Sitting down as their game planning this game. What do they got to do, man?
We got to get DK involved. DK has been a non-factor the past couple of weeks, and that's been a problem. For me, a game where DK has 8 receptions, 127 yards, and a touchdown is not a productive game for DK. DK needs to be the focal part of our offense. Anytime they're off the ball with DK, we need to throw it out to him for a quick screen where he's going to get us 8 yards on any given play. If they are lined up off of DK, we need to snap the ball and get the ball to DK. I want to see us use DK in the run game. I want to see us use DK on a fly sweep. I want to see us use DK in Wildcat on read option. I want to see us use him on goal line. I want to see us take advantage of this physical freak of nature that's on our roster that's getting frustrated because he's not getting the ball enough because he should be, and he's been open. And I think it starts like you guys are talking about with the short passing game and the quick get Russell Wilson in rhythm and get the ball out of his hands quickly. Let's get DK in rhythm. Remember when we got him in rhythm? The last game we got DK in rhythm, he went off for 2 touchdowns against San Francisco and looked like an absolute freak of nature. We need to get him going in this ball game. We are probably going to be without Chris Carson. Carlos Hyde can't carry the entire load by himself. DK is our guy. Tyler's a little bit injured. Let's get DK going offensively. Remember, Pat Pete guarded Tyler quite a bit of the game last time we played Arizona. If they continue that, we have got to take advantage of DK in this ball game. And then another key, Russell Wilson just can't have 2 interceptions in this game. He's got to play cleaner. I have reason to believe, and we'll get into this later when we do our scoring predictions, that this is going to happen, and I do have confidence moving forward. But offensively, I say the biggest key for this game, DK needs to be our offense. Let's make him that.
All right. Squabo has spoken. Get the man the football. All right, we didn't get to him last time we played him either. Tyler Lockett was the man who had a career, almost a franchise game against the Cardinals last time. So yeah, I know that DK is itching to get some action because the last big game he had was against the 49ers.
And then before everybody panics, I mean, I just want everybody to remember we have scored over 30 points in, I believe, seven of the last 10 or seven of the last 9 games, if not 6 of the 9 games. And a couple of the games we lost, we scored over 20. So it's not like, we're only scoring 12.4 points a game. We've been putting up over 30. The problem is we're giving up, darn near 40 sometimes. But we're moving and we're scoring. We just need to make some other things happen so that we put ourselves in a better position. So let's not panic too quickly, and let's see how it plays out, because I think that there's some things that we all agree that we need to do. But we're putting up the points.
It's too late, Bill. The panic is out there. Just like the panic is out there and people are buying paper towel by the truckloads, and it's pissing me off because we're running out and no place has got toilet paper towel again.
We haven't hit the iceberg until we lose to an NFC East team. So let's get through the NFC East like these other teams have played. And it's not like they've already taken their run at those guys. So we haven't quite hit the iceberg yet.
Yes. No, this is a great game that would be an awesome start to turning things as we hit this stretch of games, which should be much easier to get through. And all due respect to the East opponents. I mean, they are the East opponents this year. Not very good. But we got to do something in this game, and hopefully these things will happen. So let's get the keys, and then we'll do the scores prediction after that, and then we'll have our NorbCam trivia, courtesy of Rishi H. Thank you for your contribution to sending a very nicely well done trivia for today. All right, so let's do the keys. Let's start with Steezy. Your keys to the game. Go for it.
Yeah, I kind of talked about it earlier. I want to see us run the football. Now that we finally had Carlos Hyde, he's not Chris Carson. I'm not saying that he's a superstar running back of any sort. I just think that he provides at least some semblance of a running game, and that's a big up, or that's a big improvement from what we've seen from the running game the last couple of weeks. Because quite honestly, we haven't seen anything. The running game has been non-existent, and so Russell Wilson can also help out in the running game, but he can only do that if we have a running game. And, as we always talk about, a running game is a quarterback's best friend. And so let's take some pressure off of Russell Wilson. He feels like he's at the shoulder of the load, maybe a little too much all year long. And so let's help him out a little bit to run the football. Key number 2, I'm with Noah. We got to feature DK. I mean, look at him. He was frustrated so many times last week. A lot of people were saying that Jalen Ramsey shut him down. I mean, to a certain extent, he did, but Russell Wilson only targeted him 3 times. And so he didn't really shut him down. It's just Russell Wilson didn't get him the football. I mean, he was open a countless number of times. There were a lot of plays where I saw he was just waving, and he's wide open. He could have had a couple of touchdowns, but Russell Wilson just never looked his way. And in the Arizona game when we lost, he had 2 catches for 28 yards. And I talked about this earlier too, but he almost won the game for us. We put the ball in his hands in space, on the screen. And if David Moore if he kept his hands outside rather than inside, or whatever it was, he messed up on he just forgot how to run block in that moment, but he almost won the game for us. And so, Patrick Peterson, he's still a great corner in this league, but he's not the shutdown cornerback that he once was. And a lot of people were saying that, Patrick Peterson shut him down in the first matchup. He was on Tyler Lockett for a majority of the game, and he was getting burnt by Tyler Lockett. And so, once again, I'm with Noah here. Key number 2, let's feature DK, getting the ball in space. Let's take advantage of that 4.44 speed. I mean, he's one of the fastest guys in the NFL, and it hasn't been evidence. I mean, there's been plenty of evidence to show for it. I mean, the chase down of Buda Baker, that long touchdown against the Niners. I mean, this guy is an absolute freak of nature, and I mean, he's one of the very best receivers in all of football. I mean, I was making a case that he was top 5. Noah was saying he was top 2. I think he's somewhere in the middle, and so we got to feature him. We got to make sure he's happy. And when he's not getting the football, I mean, then where else are we going with the football? I mean, Tyler Lockett's not very healthy, and so let's feature DK Metcalf. And then number 3, just try to contain Kyler Murray. I know it's a lot easier said than done, but, as you guys all talked about, as you guys have all said, disguise blitzes, try to send out some exotic packages, try to mix things up a little bit. Because, I mean, we're very, very, on defense, we're just so basic. I mean, I feel like I could call plays for the defense. I mean, at that point, and so let's try to change things up, try to give Kyler Murray, a few different looks. He's just been running all over the league this year. And so try to contain Kyler Murray. My 3 keys: run the football, feature DK Metcalf, and then number 3, contain Kyler Murray.
All right. It's funny that you mentioned about the hand waving, DK Metcalf waving. When I was playing that Madden game, I had a lot of times when DK Metcalf was doing the same thing. He's like, open. I'm like, man, they really get these characters down. Because man, he's doing exactly what he's doing in real life. It's crazy. Deuce of Hazard in the super chat says, Coach Marsh, you're a great addition to the channel and chat. I just don't have confidence in our defense. So on that note, let me go to the keys to you, Coach Marsh. What are your keys? Kind of summarizing the keys to the game for you.
Well, I appreciate that compliment, but I don't know if my counterparts here are going to agree with my take. First off, I don't want us to depend on Russ this game. I want us to do some other things that take the pressure off him a little bit. Now, that doesn't mean him not throwing the ball 30 to 35 times a game. It means not putting him in a position where he has to throw the deep balls or he's feeling forced to do things, which leads to the second piece. If you remember the receivers that we had when we went to the Super Bowl, guys like Curse and Baldwin and those guys, we weren't dependent on one specific guy. And I feel like that we're kind of in that mode, and we're doing it as fans too, where we've got this freak of nature and he can run the 4.340, and we're remembering him chasing a guy down from behind. And we don't realize that, again, teams catch up to that. So I'd rather see us be equal on all parts. Let's spread the ball around, get everybody, and yes, certain guys should get more targets. You should plan going into the game that you're going to get them 10 to 12 targets. But I like to see us spread the ball around so they don't know who to necessarily get. So not putting it there. And that's, I think, what makes a Tony Romo great is he analyzes it from the perspective of a quarterback. Most other analysts view it like we do. A guy's waving his hands. Well, if you've ever stood there as a coach or as a fan behind a line, it's very hard to see, let alone when you're 5'10", right? So for us to see the guy who's waving his hands way down the field, that's not always the easiest thing to see. So we want him to get him the ball. But here's my number one key to the game. I think we have to keep Murray to under 40 yards rushing. So he's at 600 yards, which is about 60 yards a game, a little less than 60 yards. We have to make sure that he is handing the football off, meaning whoever's responsible for him in every play, somebody's going to be responsible for. They're going to put a spy on him, which for us is going to be difficult because if our defense is already struggling and now we have to lock up one guy every single time, and it's probably not going to be a linebacker. We're going to bring in an extra DB. Now we're going to have to be responsible for him. And where Buffalo screwed up many, many times was that guy who was responsible for Murray ended up chasing down the running back when that wasn't his responsibility. And Murray ran around it, like I said earlier in the show here. So keep him under 40 yards, and I think we win the football game. But let's not put the pressure on the others and just spread the ball around. Don't put the pressure on Russ, and keep him contained.
Wow, 40 yards. That seems like a really small space for a guy like him.
We're talking for a quarterback. We're talking a quarterback trying to keep him under 40, and everybody's thinking, this is my thought too, like, can we really do that? But
this guy can get 40 yards in one run. That's how fast he is. All right, Squabo, your keys to the game.
Man. So if we are going to do the whole spy thing with Kyler Murray, which I think is a good idea, the guy that we should use, Jamal Adams. He needs to be the guy.
Bingo.
Up on Kyler, and let's just blitz him and have him meet Kyler in the backfield. How does that sound? My three keys for the game, I start offensively. No more than 2 picks for Russ. We're undefeated when Russ doesn't throw more or 2 or more interceptions in a ball game, and I think that's a really important part. Another thing that people kind of laughed at when I started bringing this up early on in the season, but it's actually been a really important key, and we've only won one game when we didn't do this, and it was by the skin of our teeth. I'm talking about Minnesota, and the key that I'm talking about is starting out hot in a ball game and getting the lead. Seattle is so much better this year when we have played with the lead. In the past, yes, we have come back from deficits, and we know a game is never over. Our quarterback's confidence is shot right now. How do we fix that? By allowing him to play in a comfortable situation offensively where we have the lead. Stop making our defense have to try and get us the ball back when we're already playing from behind. So we need to allow ourselves to not be in panic mode, trying to change up our scheme and going away from our identity because we're trailing by getting the lead early on in a ball game. When we haven't had 2 or more picks and we've started out hot, we're undefeated. So let's keep doing that. Last thing, defensively, we need to disguise our defense so that Kyler doesn't know what we're throwing at him on any given play. Obviously, we need to get pressure. Obviously, we have to watch out for Kyler. But disguising our defense, I think, is the number one key because of the fact that it'll impact so many different aspects of their offense.
All right, very well said. So my keys are probably all kind of a derivative of everybody else's keys, but I'll put them in order. I won't include in my key to win the turnover battle because I think it goes without saying we all know that we go as the turnover battle goes. When we lose the turnover battle, we lose the game. When we win the turnover battle, we've won the game. So it goes without saying that we have to do that. So for me, the order is first, we have to do a much better job of protecting Wilson. I don't know. Again, it's weird how this game is in Madden somehow it reflects what happens in real life, because I don't know how many times in the Madden game I had free blitzers coming off the edge smacking me before I even had a chance to take 2 steps back, and I'm like, what happened? And how is the computer doing the same thing that we've been seeing the last 2-3 games? So we can't have that. And I don't know if, again, we had Bill, we jumped into some more detail on Monday, but whose responsibility is that? Is that the center? Is that the quarterback? Is it both? But obviously if somebody comes off the edge untouched, there's a problem. It's not that you're not athletic enough. There was a mental communication, whatever, error where somebody did not know to pick up that person. That can't happen. And that's happened way too many times in the last 2 games and in the last 3 losses that we've had. So we've got to fix that part. That's a mental communication thing. Hopefully they can keep Wilson from getting hit by these, guys flying unprotected or unblocked. That's number 1. Number 2, you guys said it, we got to attack Kyler Murray. We cannot let him just sit back there and get comfortable and just run when he wants to run. I love the idea. We didn't have Jamal Adams when we played him the first time, so that matchup of Jamal Adams spying him is a great one because Adams is fast. He can get in there in the backfield quick. I love that idea of we didn't see that before. So that's going to be a new wrinkle in this matchup that might change the dynamic of things. And then thirdly, we talked about it. Bill, you brought this up, and we all agree with you. Up tempo. A lot of in the press conferences this week that Russ has spoken about and Coach Carroll is talking about. Don't overthink it. Simplify it. Keep the thought process simple. And I think if they do a little more up tempo and let Russell just sort of let the game flow, I feel like there'll be less thinking and more instinct. And I feel like that might get him out of that funk as opposed to when he has to overthink and analyze in a slower paced game. So that's my 3 keys. Better, protect Wilson better. Attack and disguise. I didn't say that. I didn't talk about the attack and disguise blitzes, but I did talk about Jamal Adams. But we got to blitz, and we've got to be more creative with hiding it so they don't see what's coming. Again, be more deceptive, a little more, not so much here's what we're doing, come block us. It's more like, am I coming? Is he coming? And that guy coming? Nope, it's going to be this. And then let them kind of feast on that for a little bit. And then up tempo. Let Russell Wilson just be himself in the game and let the game flow through him. That would be, I think, the way we can get him cooking once again. Taker 610 in the super chat.
What happened? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. I just got to acknowledge Taker 610 in the super chat says, hopefully our D doesn't set the wrong records, eh? We're already setting records. I mean, at this point, it's like the house is on fire. We're just trying to keep it from burning completely down. So, let's see what we can make out of this. But you're going to say, Bill?
Well, I was going to say, the beauty of what just happened is, for those of you that ever wanted to be a coach or see what a coaching staff meeting is like, is staff gets together and somebody comes up with an idea. So I threw out there the idea of let's do some sort of play where we're going one-on-one, and then someone makes a suggestion. So I suggest let's do a spy, and all of a sudden we suggest who that spy should be, and then everybody agrees who it should be, and off we go. Now we're doing it. So that's how coaches meetings work. So hopefully that they're making that same choice. That Pete's suggesting something, and Norton's listening, and everybody gets on board.
Would you love to be a fly on the wall at some of these meetings? I would love to hear what is spoken. How much of this stuff is things that we're going, yeah, that's what I've been saying, or how much is it like completely like we have no idea these guys are dealing with things that we just don't know behind closed doors. And if we did, maybe we'd actually be more patient. Like, oh, well, I didn't realize that this was going on. No wonder they had to do this because this was, and they never talked about this. So, speaking of fly on the wall, I have to share the story. So the other day, I think it was actually in preparation for our collab on Monday. We were testing things out, and I had the Discord open, and it's basically once you go into the Discord streaming channel, which is when people watch the game streams with me, my mic just gets open, and then you're just on there. So I clicked on that to test it to make sure it was working for us because I was going to take some calls on that day. Well, I never closed it. I left the Discord channel open. So essentially my mic was on the whole time. So after we did our test, the whole afternoon, my mic was on, and I was recording like this Puget Sound Energy. They're one of our clients. I was doing this, recording these takes and stuff. And little did I know, in the Discord, everybody who was on there online was listening to me doing these takes, basically like having a spy mic. They were the fly on the wall during this little private record session I had. Fortunately, all I did is I had a couple of, profanity moments where I said, "Oh, bleep, messed that up. Let's try that take two." That was as bad as it got. But man, I was thinking, when I found out later that this was out there, and Martin, one of our roundtable guys, actually recorded some of it and put it on YouTube. You might have wanted to check with me first, buddy. Luckily, there was nothing, embarrassing or anything like that. But man, I don't know how you feel, but if you found out that the entire afternoon there was a microphone on in your room that you didn't know about, woo! Fear goes through your head, man. You think, what did I do for the last 2 hours? What did I say? Fortunately, I didn't say anything bad or do anything bad, so it worked out okay.
No. For the record, too, like, Norb can't really say it because, like, it happened to him. But look, dude, Martin, bro, that really wasn't cool. Like, you can't be posting what someone's saying without them knowing, like, when they didn't even know that you have them recorded. Like, that's just not cool. And to everyone, because I know, Norb, you got a young audience, just so you guys know, like, we love Martin all the same, nothing against him, bro, but like everyone, like y'all young, influential young men, just know, like, it's not cool to post like recordings of people behind their back without them knowing it. That's just not cool.
Technically, there's even a legality aspect of a conversation being recorded with the other person not knowing. But again, 100%. No harm, no foul. An innocent thing, but let it be a learning lesson. That if you're going to do something like that, you definitely got to get permission. Just like when I have you guys recorded, I got your permission in advance. Actually, I didn't. We're just doing this, but yeah, no harm, no foul. It's all good.
If you know Norb, he pours his heart and soul into this thing. So it's not like those graphics in the background are easy, or anything he's putting together here is easy. So, having worked with him for so long on those highlight videos, I think we averaged out that it was like 5 hours for every minute that we were putting on a highlight video. So because of how intricate they were and how hard you're working at them. So I know that you take a lot of pride. So yeah, let's protect Norb and keep him going and get him to those 50,000 subscription and everything else as we go along the way. So
yes,
and then with 100,000, like I said, I want to be there when you get that plaque and everything else.
I want you to be there too, man. Just like when we were there live streaming when Squavo hit 500 and Steezy hit a 1K all in the same show at the end of the show, almost simultaneously. It was awesome. It's such a great moment. So yeah, more great times ahead.
So I guess a couple quick thoughts before we go to questions. And I have Darren. I saw one of his questions that came up, so I don't know if you want to hit that or not. But my comment on Ken Norton, because we haven't hit it much. So for many years, I would be a coordinator on one side of the ball or the other, right? As a head coach in high school, you're usually going to be a coordinator as well. And usually whoever was coordinating the other side, I still had veto rights on certain things, right? On fourth down calls or what have you. It still had to go through my headset. But one time I had a coach that, as we're going through a 3-game, kind of some struggles, all of a sudden I told him what I thought we should do. And he said, well, I'll let you know when I want your suggestions. And I kind of jokingly said, well, I'll let you, how about if I give you this suggestion? You can go coach at this high school, or this high school. Now, we were friends, we were joking around, but the point that I'm making here is Pete Carroll is still responsible for that defense. So if something needs to be done, Pete Carroll's the guy that's going to tell Ken, hey, we need to blitz more or we need to do something else, because he's sitting in those defensive meetings. So while we want to get on Ken, Pete's the guy who should be telling him, this is what I want to see happen, just like he wants on the offense. If we want a quick passing game, Pete's going to strongly suggest what he wants, because in the end, it all stops with him, right? So I just want to make sure that, again, I'm not advocating to keep Ken Norton, but in terms of the hierarchy and the system of how it really works, it stops with Pete and it starts with Pete. And so if we want blitzing or if we see blitzing, it's because Pete's told him that's what we have to have happen, not necessarily because Ken's choosing not to do it against the wishes of the head coach. Darren had said something with regards to mobile quick quarterbacks. I'll throw out my quick 5, Norbert. That's cool.
Go for it.
I went with both because the mobile part's going to throw you off a little bit. I have Mahomes, Wilson, and then I put Allen in there, and then Jackson, and I put Rodgers in there when he's not gimpy. Now, you don't think of him as quick, but he is mobile and he moves around. If you want a guy that can move and juke inside of the pocket and understands football presence, I'll take that guy over some of the guys who may be quicker but don't understand proper footwork mechanics inside of a pocket. So I hope that answers your question, Darren, the way you're looking for it.
That's well put. So in the super chat, I don't want to miss these guys. So Tiffany Doty says, I think we will win. Arizona is coming in on a high after wins, and Seattle is hungry for a much-needed win at home. Seahawks 30-27. I hope you're right. I think sometimes it may start that way, but oftentimes once you get past that initial hype and you get into the game, then it just becomes X's and O's, and everything kind of has to balance out from that point on. Alina Dahl says, hey, Norb, Martin might get you more subscribers, LOL. Yeah, especially, I think about some of the famous, if you YouTube famous announcers who were caught off mic saying stuff or didn't know they were being recorded. There's a famous one of who's the guy who used to do the Casey Kasem. Do you remember Casey Kasem? He did the original Top 40, American Top 40. He passed away a number of years ago. But this is Casey Kasem, and you were listening to America Top 40. Anyway, there was one because he would always tell these stories like our next letter comes from a listener in Seattle, Washington. He writes, Casey, can you play a song? Because I just had my heart broken by the woman of my dreams. She's like, this song is for you. Anyway, so he had to do some weird transition from one story to the next. And as soon as it went to break or to the song, he was pissed because whoever fed him the stories, he had to go from one awkward story to this other one that was totally a weird transition. And he just went off for like 5 minutes about how this person should be fired and F this and D this. And it was just like, oh my gosh, Casey Kasem, the beloved voice of Welcome to the America's Top 40, suddenly just going off. And so I think about that and just like, man, you just got to be careful because in this day and age where we're always on computers, always on Zooms, and we get lulled to, like people you guys, I know there's a lot of young people out there watching this. You guys have your computers on, you're muted, your camera's off. You're just kind of like, sitting around Zoom. There was a story about a college girl. I think she was on a Zoom class. She went to the bathroom and brought her laptop with her and didn't realize her camera was on. So the whole class was watching this girl go to take her laptop into the bathroom. And anyway, so things can happen. So you just got to be careful. Martin, I don't want you to feel bad. This is more of just kind of a little small tidbit. If you want to take it down, I saw you in the chat say, should I take it down? I heard it. It's fine. There's nothing damaging in there. So if you want to take it down, you can take it down. If you want to leave it, I'm okay with that. Like I said, there's nothing in there that was of any harm. So no big deal. It's all cool. We're good, man. Fist bump.
The most important thing is to learn from it. So
right.
All you kids out there, learn from this.
This is just more not because in this situation, but in the future. Again, if you do record a conversation, you can have your iPhone, right? I'm going to record this guy and catch him saying something. If you record something and you don't get their permission to record it and then you do something publicly with it, anyone can do it. We've got the technical devices to do it almost all the time. But you do it without their permission, technically it is illegal. So you guys should just need to know that because right now it's so easy to play pranks and do little things. So just, it's a good thing to know. Oh, Martin says he already took it down.
Take out the word record and put prevent in there. And Norb is, Schneider talking to Norton, and let's have the same conversation. If Norb was just doing the same conversation in terms of learn from that lesson, Norton, and stop doing what we've been doing, and let's change some things up, maybe we could have some change there. So that was a pretty good motivational talk if you're talking to Norton about how to change the defense up and do it correctly and learn from that mistake that you've been doing. So.
As I thought would be interesting, speaking of mics, we're totally off topic here and way behind before our trivia, but we started late and this is my show, so that's just how it is. But, with the all mic'd up, we would mic you up, and sometimes we mic certain players up, and we had an inside glimpse into everything that was going on because we heard every single thing you said, and of course we had an understanding, this trust that was going to be sacred, that only what you wanted to be out there would be heard. But you think about this, they mic a lot of players. Now they do multiple players. You hear coaches mic'd up, players mic'd up, offense, defense, tons of guys mic'd up. And those guys who are on NFL Films who are recording this stuff, they're hearing a lot of inside information that obviously they're told what you can or cannot put over the air to not give out a team's secrets. But you think about that, that's a lot of recordings of guys, who are, granted they know they're being recorded, so they probably think about that. But, if a quarterback's being recorded, he's having conversations with his coach, his offensive coordinator, with his players calling plays. They hear every single thing. So they know exactly what was going on before this trick play happened. And so, it's a lot of
I got a quick comment on that. A quick comment on that, Norb, and then I got another comment about the actual game itself again. I remember the very first time that after we'd done some mic'd up stuff, we had always agreed that you and your partner were going to be able to listen. So there were times where I would say a play, or I would let you know a play was coming up, 3 or 4 plays ahead, and then you guys would go down and run down the end zone so you could see the ball coming to the right spot. But really, where it really made a difference was when my brother first listened to it. So he had asked if he could listen to a game, because he said, I don't understand how you can stand in the middle of the field and just put your arm around players, and it seems like you're just such a nice guy, and you come meet us after the game and you're just exhausted. How is that even possible? And then you allowed him to listen to a half. And I remember seeing him after the game, and he just said, you never shut up. Like, you were just talking the whole game, constant communication, talking to the quarterback, your coaches. And I said, well, yeah, you got 8 seconds to make a decision. You're listening to everybody, and everybody's got an eternity to second guess it. Transitioning, I think one of the things that we haven't hit on that I think is a big deal. I just happened to look outside and see that it's kind of going sideways out there.
Oh, Elena in the super chat, in the chat brought this up, the weather.
But it's okay. Monday, I kind of went the opposite direction, saying when we travel, I don't want to go to Green Bay again this year and lose in the first round or second round like we always seem to have done the last few years. So I want to throw this out to the group before I give my thought. Arizona coming up here, maybe it's, if they were playing tonight, we're potentially playing in sideways rain, so you don't have the crowd there, but the Seattle weather maybe makes a difference. So I'm throwing that kind of out there to the group here to see what your thoughts are on that. Is that a difference-making position thing or not?
That's a good point. I'm looking at the forecast on my phone right now, and it's saying tomorrow looks like rain in the forecast, so that could change. This could be a lot colder. It's not that comfy Arizona indoor field. Who does it help?
I'm going to caveat it with, no one can say that, well, both teams have to play in it, because teams have different styles of offense and teams will run different things. So if you have to eliminate both teams have to play in it mentality, which is what a lot of high school coaches like to say, do you think does it make a difference? Does it affect us by, could it be worth 3 points, 7 points? Does it hurt us more as a defense, or does it help us more as a defense based on the type of defense we run? Does it help Arizona or hurt Arizona? So I'd be curious. I'm going to watch the chat, see what people think there on that, if it's a difference. But I'd ask you guys what your thoughts are that.
Well, it seems these days that unless it's really coming down like it was against in New England on Sunday with the Baltimore Ravens and the Patriots, that was coming down like I've never seen rain that heavy. We don't get that kind of rain typically here. So usually we kind of get just the constant drizzle shower, not the monsoon type like we saw where the cameras could barely see the field. It was so heavy. And they do a pretty good job of keeping those balls, fairly well, dried through most of the game. So it seems like it's not as much of a factor as maybe before when they didn't pay as much attention to keeping those things protected. But one thing that's good is Russell Wilson's got big hands, and I like to think that the guy with the bigger hands has a better chance of handling a wet ball just because he's got bigger fingers spread over it, and then less chance that thing might slip. So I don't know how Kyler Murray's hands are. So maybe if he's got smaller hands and don't quite grip the ball the same way, then maybe that could make just a little bit of difference on one of those throws down the field. So I think if it's at least that part. And those are the guys who handle the ball every single play on offense. I'd say Russell Wilson maybe has a slight advantage on that. But how much it'll change the game, hard to say. But I think that a slight edge goes to Seattle. What do you guys think? Squabo? Weather factor.
I think the rain benefits Seattle because our defense sucks against the pass, and that's what's been destroying us this entire year. And it's harder to pass in the rain, especially for a team from Arizona where it doesn't rain. So essentially, I say Seattle benefits the most, especially because our passing game has sucked over the past couple of weeks. So what do we got to lose? I think it takes away from Arizona.
Yeah, good point. What about you, Steezy?
Yeah, no, same reason. I mean, this is the rainy state for a reason. We're used to the rain. Even if we don't necessarily play in the rain as much, I mean, a lot of these guys stay in Seattle, and so they're used to the rain. And like Noah said, in Arizona, I mean, it's nothing but sun, nothing but desert over there. Rarely does it ever rain. And I think it's all the more reason to run the football, like I said earlier. And so, when it rains, when it pours, I mean, you want to run the football and kind of, not pass as much. And with Carlos Hyde coming back, all the more reason to do that.
All right. Well, I agree. If we could force them to run, not necessarily Kyler Murray running, but if they go to a traditional run game, that definitely plays into our strengths because that's one of the things actually Seattle's been doing pretty well is actually stopping the run. We've been a lot better at that than we have been against the pass. All right. I know everyone's been waiting. Shall we do the trivia? You guys ready? Or is there anything else before we?
Of course.
Oh, the scores. That's right. Thank you for the scores. We totally forgot. All right, let's start with Squabo.
So the biggest factor in this game that I'm yet to bring up because I was saving it for the scores. When thinking about this game, literally this morning, I said, you know what? There's no way I can pick Seattle in this game, considering the fact that before the season I said when Arizona comes to Seattle, it's an automatic loss because Arizona always beats us in Seattle. Second of all, we're on the worst streak in our modern history. 3 of 4 games where we've gotten embarrassed and don't look like ourselves, and Russell Wilson is in a slump. But then I thought about what's holding us back, and it's really Russell Wilson's, and in my eyes, remember earlier I was talking about how I feel like he might have depression. Well, I think that the Seattle locker room just did something extremely important that nobody is talking about because nobody really knows yet. Pete Carroll in press conference today was asked, who decides what uniforms you wear? He said the players and the captains typically decide. Then he was asked what he thinks of the uniforms they're wearing tomorrow, and he said he really likes the green uniforms. So from that, I'm taking away we're pulling out the lime green tomorrow, and I'm in a Com 210. I'm a student at Washington State University. I'm learning all about color schemes and creating graphic designs and the impact that colors have on your health and your emotional status and your feelings and what emotions are construed by different color schemes. And when you have that lime green color scheme, that is better than anything for your mentality. When you talk about Seattle's colors, yeah, typically when we're at home, we pull out the all blues, and the all blues, that's depressing. If we pull out the all greens on Thursday night, at least the green jersey, I think that is the biggest difference in this game. It's going to help Russell Wilson get out of this depression slump, and I think it turns around our season because on Thursday night we're wearing the lime uniforms. 38-35, Seahawks win.
Wow. I've never seen such a passionate, compelling argument based on the color of the uniforms, but I like it, though. I like it. I would love to know, actually, that would be a great trivia question, actually, is what is our record based on different uniform outfits? That would be something, wouldn't it? Okay.
Have we lost with the lime greens? I don't think
go
so.
back to the Rams game from last year.
We won. We won by the hair of our chin against the Rams game in the green last year. True.
Beat the Rams twice. Beat the Vikings with the green top.
We'll have to do some research.
The green on the Thursday nights.
We'll have to check that out. Again, future trivia question. All right, so Steezy, let's go with your score prediction.
Man, well, obviously I got to go Seattle. We're not going to lose 3 in a row. I'm going to go Seattle finds a way. Russell Wilson wills this team to victory. We come out on top 32. Seattle, Arizona 27.
All right. Coach Marsh, your score prediction is your first time, not for everything here, but your first time doing a score prediction. You got to start off on a good note here. Let's see what you got to say. A score prediction for.
It's great how we spend the whole time just ripping them apart, and then we all become homers, right? And I'll probably end up being one here in a second. But first, let me tell you that just so you know, WSU is known as the Harvard of the Northwest, so you can take that to the bank anytime someone's talking about WSU. So I know most of you don't follow me, but I actually played a game of Tecmo Bowl earlier today to see how things would play out tonight, and that's usually how or play out tomorrow. So that's how I usually find out, kind of the real strategy behind what's going to happen. And as we went through it, I realized that the biggest thing that's going to happen is the thing we've talked about very little today, and that's the special teams. Weather can impact special teams. I actually don't believe it impacts offense and defense very much, but it can impact special teams, and I think our special teams, quite frankly, is the strength of our team. So the fact that we'll be able to pin them down, the fact that we can make field goals when we need them, the fact that we have a good snapper and a holder, the fact that we've been strong from that standpoint, I think we're going to be in good shape, which is why I have Seattle winning 24-13.
13. That's in 1-3. That's like 1-3, right? As in 10 plus 3? I guess I'm making sure here.
Keep them under 40. Yep, it happens.
Okay.
Tomorrow's be a different night. Thursday, the green, the mentality, Russ in the microwave. It's all coming. That's what Tecmo Bowl told me.
All right. Well, Elena, we asked the question. Elena, one of our mods, answered. She says in all caps, they've never lost in action green.
Knock on wood.
There we go. Okay.
Was that like the free throw jinx? You just giving the free throw jinx like we were 20 for 20.
Okay, well, I haven't done my score prediction yet. So everybody's a homer in here, but as you ought to be. I'm going to stick to my music prediction video because I have, with the exception of a couple of game swaps, my record prediction has been perfect from a win-loss standpoint. I had Seattle being 6-3 at this point in the season. So it brings us to this key game right here. We have never lost 3 games in a row under Russell Wilson. The last time we lost 3 in a row was 2011 under Pete Carroll. But according to my music prediction video and the fact that it's been so accurate so far, I have to stick to my thing because I predicted it long ago, so I got to stay beside it. In this game, I predicted the Cardinals will defeat the Seahawks by a score of 21-17.
Is that 4 more than 13?
Based on my advanced UW math, it is. So I'm going to be the lone gunman here who's going to stick to my original prediction from late August, okay? That 21-17, that the Cardinals are going to give us our first 3-game skid in the first time under Russell Wilson. Believe me.
Norb, you sounded depressed when you said that.
I'm not, because it's not like I want it to happen. Right? I mean, sometimes we have to say things. Sometimes we have to say things we're not happy to say, and it's not like I'm bound by some covenant that I have to stick with my thing. But I guess I'm gonna ride with my thing until I'm wrong. So yeah, I'm not happy about it. I mean, there's reason to feel like that could happen, but like I said, anything can happen, and the weather. There's a lot of things that could be. So Jamal Adams in this game. Believe me, I want everybody out there, the Seahawks, Russell, the coaches, the coordinators, all prove me wrong and get one of your guys' scores. Well, hopefully that will happen. All right, on that happy note, let's play some trivia. Bill, you're going to be playing in this. You've seen the trivia before, right?
Yep, I have.
All right, so you know how it works. We do the game here. That we do between the roundtable, but we do the rest of it with you guys watching. You guys do it on the Kahoot app or Kahoot.com. I'm going to give you the name of the game in just a second, and then we will play it. 12 games. Again, this trivia brought to you by Rishi H. Thank you, Rishi, for all you do for the NorbCam channel. All right, Rishi, do a good job on this trivia, man. So here we go. Let's do it. Here's my thing. All right, here we go. Got the scoreboard ready. Martin didn't join us, but he's still in there in spirit. So, got to check on the chicken. Yep, yeah. Take care of y'all's chicken. All right, here we go. Here's the game. Okay, by Rishi H. Thank you. Here we go. Here's the game pin. The number is 305-1896. Light it up. Get on board. 305-1896. There we go. Cameron, Jeremy, Go Hawks, Andrew P. Tyler, T-Man. See a lot of familiar faces. Seahawks fan 123, Devo, Russ M. $ MVP, Camp Chancellor, Little Ricky, Dangerous, DK Metcalf, Isaiah Simmons, Mike Cox Small, Isaiah Simmons. That'd be like a guy. I'm surprised somebody hasn't put the name Mike Hunt yet in here. Diego C. Kyler Murray MV, Joel Wilson. We got 55 already in here. Born Balls, Robert Potts, Ken Norbton. I'm probably going off of my performance in Madden yesterday. 65 of you in here. Let's see if we get to 100. Rush for MVP, Liam, Kyler the Goat, Gabe Itch, Coalition, App Sucks, Crispy, 71. Let's go. 20 more seconds. Mr. Unlimited, Dangerous, Jaron, Purple Llama 13, Mike Oxstrong. Where's my favorite? Where's my Schmilligod? Schmilligod, you got to be in here. Don't break the streak for me now. Schmilligod, you got to be in here. I haven't seen you yet. NorbCam Dad, Hale Murray, MC Stove on Yapoo. I think it's supposed to be you, and he typed a P. Yapoo. Norb's Beard. I don't got one. Not capable of growing one. 82 of you. 10 seconds left. Balance 10-20. Go Jags. Kalen the Bot Boy. Seattle sucks. Except you spelled Seattle wrong. Seattle sucks, but you can't spell. Schmilly Dog. Oh, it's the Schmilly Dog. It's the alter ego of Schmilly God. The Schmilly Dog. 5 seconds. 4, 3, Rylan. 2, we're 90. 1. All right, we broke 90. That's close enough. Steelers. All right, then go full screen, and let's start this thing in 3, 2, 1, go. Rishi H, thank you for the trivia. Here we go. Question number 1. How many times have the Seahawks come back from a deficit of 17 or more points? 6, 7, 5, or 8? How many times have the Seahawks come back from a deficit of 17 or more points? 6, 7, 5, or 8? 6, 7, 5, or 8. Time is up. Ooh, YouTube, you guys are on it. The answer is 6, and 33 of you guys got this correct. Let's go to the panel, starting with Steezy.
I went with 6. I kind of just wanted to stay somewhere in the middle. I didn't want to go with the high. I didn't want to go with the low. So go 6.
All right. Good. Well, on a hot start. Key to this game. Getting out to an early start. Squabo.
Oh, man. Well, I feel like the Hawks against the Rams, bro, because I said 5. That's tough.
I said that too. By the way, I took this trivia contest. I practiced this before just to see how I did. I didn't do so hot. I only got like 5 right. So I missed this one too. Bill, chance to get
7.
your first points. You say 7? You had 7?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you have still yet to get some points in this one. They will come eventually. All right, 1 point lead for Steezy. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard. Sheba with the 3 things. I don't know, monkeys or something on there. In first place, Dangerous Jaren in second. Seattle sucks with the misspelling of Seattle. In third place, Cam Chancellor in fourth, and 49ers fan in fifth. Next question. Number 2. What position did Steven Sullivan switch to? Wide receiver. He never switched. Defensive end or linebacker? What position did Steven Sullivan switch to? Wide receiver. He never switched. Defensive end or linebacker? 3 seconds. Time is up. Relatively easy question. The correct answer is defensive end. 53 in YouTube got that correct. Let's go to the board. Steezy.
Defensive end.
Pretty easy one, Steezy. Easy Steezy. Gets 2 points. Squabo.
Hey, no, we gotta do him even one better. It ain't easy being Steezy. Come on, bro.
Squabo's on the board. Squabo's on the board. Bill.
Yep, I'm on the board. That was an easier one.
Coach Bill gets his first points in trivia history right here. Historic moment. All right, let's go to the YouTube scoreboard and see what's changing. Sheba drops out of the top 5, but Dangerous Jaren moves to first. Schmidt-a-Dog in second. Tyler Greaves in third. Norb's Beard in fourth. And Squabo A. Smith. Squabo A. This should be Squeezy A. Smith. Squabo A. Smith in fifth. Next question. How many MLB teams has Russell Wilson played for? 1, 2, 3, or 4? How many MLB teams has Russell Wilson played for? 1, 2, 3, or 4? I actually got this one correct. How many MLB teams? Russell Wilson? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Correct answer is 3. Oh, most of you, 20 of you on YouTube got that one correct. A lot of you fell for the number 2, but yeah, the correct answer is 3. Let's go to Steezy.
Was it the Yankees, the Rangers, and the Rockies? Well, those are my 3 teams, so I said 3. But
I think so. That was my guess, but that correct answer gets you to 3 points. Squabs?
I had a different 3 teams, but I said 3.
What were your 3 teams?
Milwaukee.
Oh, Milwaukee. Okay, I don't remember that.
I could be wrong though. I just honestly, like, I knew two of them, the Rockies and the Rangers, and I was like, I'm pretty sure there was a third, so I said three.
So I know he was drafted. I think he was drafted by the Rockies, right? So that's why I thought Rockies, and then went with Rangers and the other two, Texas Rangers and New York. Bill, keep pace.
No, I had two because I know more about his wife's songs than I know about his baseball career. So,
okay, so we got a 3-2-1, nicely ordered right here. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard. Changes everywhere. Norb's Beard goes to first. Nick LeBeau to second. Negus in third. King Viper in fourth. And Bebo Seahawks in fifth. Andrew P. is up 38 places, the highest climber. Next question. Number 4. How many NFL stadiums has Russell Wilson played a regular season game in? 35, 37, 34, or 36? How many NFL stadiums has Russell Wilson played a regular season game in? 35, 37, 34, or 36? This is out there, man. Time is up. All right. Kind of even across the board, but 23 of you got the correct answer, which is 36. 36 games that Russell Wilson, or stadiums Russell Wilson has played a regular season game in. Tough one, not the kind of thing that you normally have in the back of your mind when it comes to sports stats, but Steezy, did you happen to guess a lucky number here?
I actually did. I said 36. There's 32 teams. So, obviously he's had to at least played in 32 different stadiums, but he's been in the league for about 8 to 9 years. You have to think some of those teams have changed stadiums, including ourselves. And so, I don't know, I kind of just saw 36. And
we haven't changed stadiums since then.
Oh, we haven't? Oh, okay. Well,
I'm thinking London, Toronto.
Right.
Like, what are the other ones? I'm not sure.
Yeah. I didn't research the number. I'm counting that Rishi, who's pretty good on trivia, got this one. Knows his info. But anyway, Steezy got, even if he doesn't know his Seahawks stadium history, he got the correct answer, and that's all that counts. So Steezy with 4. Squabo.
I said 35. Just a guess, to be honest. I didn't know this.
Yeah, tough one. Bill.
I had 36, but went to 37 because I counted Quest and CenturyLink as 2 different stadiums based on names. So.
That's tough.
That's what I meant.
Bro, if that's...
Oh, the name change.
Changed the turf. They changed it all out.
That's true.
So
that's a good point. They did change the name. They did change the name. And that could be seen as a trick question. Like, does playing in CenturyLink and playing in Quest Field count as 2 different stadiums? I would have looked at it as the same building, and that's what I would have gone off.
If I would have said that, I would have been up 1 to 36, man. Come on. Dang.
All right, well, it is what it is. I didn't make this up. This was Rishi's thing, so he tricked us all. All right, let's go to the YouTube scoreboard. But he didn't trick Steezy. Steezy knew what was up. Norb's Beard hanging in there at number 1, but 10 points behind him is MC Stove on Yippoo Schmedadog in 3rd, Andrew P in 4th, and Divorce Sierra, come on, man, in 5th place. 4 players just hit a 3-answer streak. And they're, I believe, up there in the top 5. Here we go. Next question. Divorce Sierra. Come on now. Out of Russell Wilson's 4 interceptions in the 2015 NFC Championship, how many were tipped and intercepted? 1, 2, 3, or none? Out of Russell Wilson's 4 interceptions in the 2015 NFC Championship game, how many were tipped and intercepted? 1, 2, 3, or none? 1, 2, 3, or none. Yeah, we all know this. Too strong of a memory to remember. All off of Curse's hands, by the way. 39 of you got the correct answer, 2. Let's go to Steez.
I said 2. I knew for sure it wasn't 1. It wasn't 0. And I don't think he threw 3 of those, so I kind of just went with 2.
All right, so Steezy with a sizable lead here with 5 early on. A good strong start. Squabs.
No, I also said 2. It just seemed like the most like 3 was a bit much, and I tried to remember every single one. I think the one in the end zone wasn't tipped, and then the one that was supposed to end it wasn't that one tipped. I can't remember exactly which ones, but I said 2.
I remember every single one of those interceptions crystal clear. There was the 2 of them for Curse went off his hands over the middle, boink, to the defender in the back. The other one, he threw a bomb and it didn't even get to. It was intended for Curse. I can't remember which cornerback intercepted the ball. That was the one that Russell almost got creamed by what's his name, the long-haired dude, Matthews. Yeah, he almost clocked him. That interception, and then the one in the end zone you talked about. That one was just well played by the corner to jump in front and take that ball away. Coach Marsh.
Basically for the same reason you said, Norb. I knew there was one more tip than there was lines of perfume that he and Sierra came out with this week. So 2 was definitely the answer. That's according to what my wife told me. So
okay, I don't know about the perfume, but okay, 5-3-2. That's the order. Steezy, Squabo, Coach Marsh. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard with an update. Oh, Norb's beard is gone, like in real life. Schmeller Dog is the first. MC Stove on Yipu in second. Russell MVP in third. Nick LeBeau back to the 4th spot. And Coalition App Sucks on fire with a 4-answer streak in 5th place. Well, I don't know what Coalition App is, but apparently he doesn't like it. Apparently it sucks. Thank you for letting us know. Let's go. Next question. Number 6. How long was Tyler Lockett's first receiving touchdown? 43 yards, 41 yards, 50 yards, or 46 yards? Tyler Lockett's first ever receiving touchdown. How long was it? 43 yards, 41, 50, or 46? 43, 41, 50, or 46? Oh wow, YouTube! You guys got most of you guys got this one. 27 of you said 43 yards, and you guys were correct. 43 yards. Tyler Lockett's first receiving touchdown distance. Let's go to Squeezy in the panel. Did I say Squeezy again? Steezy. I'm not gonna get that out of my head.
Yeah, I can't even believe it myself, but I said 43. Once again, I was trying to play safe. I wanted to stay somewhere in the middle because I had no clue. So I said 43.
Man, you were on fire today, man. What's up? We need Russell to get some of this mojo that you got going in here. Get the early lead, score, get into the flow, get into the rhythm, get into the zone. You're in the zone right now, but of course, it's only like halftime right now.
Well, Norb, I'm gonna just tell you like this. Somebody in the chat was like, "Let's Steezy cook," and so I saw that and I was like, you know what, I owe it to him. So we'll get it going.
All right. Well, it's happening. All right, let's keep it rolling here. Let's see, can Squabo keep pace right now with 3 points?
Oh, yeah, no, I got this one right. I'm 43 sounded the most familiar, but this was honestly a guess. But I did guess 43.
Okay, I had no idea. I mean, the numbers are so close. It's not like some big range, like from 10 to 20 to 50 to 70. It's just they're all very close. So, Coach Marsh, any luck on this one?
No, I got to shout out a guy by the name of Luke Marsh, who I just saw float up on the comment.
I see that too. Though. Yes, Luke.
But yeah, I thought it was longer than 50 yards. I swear I remember it being longer than that, but obviously I was wrong. So I had guessed 50, or I'd put 50.
All right, so Bill, you got to indulge me here because this is a first time that you're on here and your son Luke is watching. So you got to say the line, man. Luke, I am your father.
Yeah, that's many times. I mean, why do you think we named him that? I've got my Yoda sitting right here. Yeah, Luke, I am your father.
Thank you, man. I know it's dumb, and I'm sure it's not it's the only time you've ever been asked to do that. Have you ever been asked to do that?
Actually, and we're going to get in the comments. It's actually not Luke, or it's no, I am your father. That's the big misnomer that people think it's Luke. Come on, Norb, I thought you knew. Maybe that's a point. Do you pull a point off for that for not knowing that one, buddy?
No.
Okay, you're right. It's your show.
I never said I was quoting the movie exactly. I was just doing it so it's in context. It sounds better when Luke is included in there because it's your son, for crying out loud. It could be anybody.
I always say Luke. Say Luke. Yeah,
but that's true. That's true. That is a misnomer that he said Luke. He said, no, I am your father. And right before that, he goes, he told me enough. He told me you killed him. No, I am your father. Anyway, see, I know this movie, man. Don't you test me on Star Wars movie quotes, man. I will whip you up and down. Don't you ever try me with a sorry-ass receiver like that. All right, sorry. Just lost my mind for a second there. Ninja CRK, NorbCam. I am your father. And that's totally the wrong quote, man. That's totally off. But thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it.
Different channel.
All right. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard before I lose place of what I'm supposed to be doing here. All right. Woo! changes. Norb's Beard is back. Schmiller Dog in second. MC Stove on your poo in third. DJ Metcalf makes it into the top 4. Divorce Sierra in fifth again. Shame on you. All right. Next question. With what team did the Seahawks trade with to select DK Metcalf? The Eagles, the Texans, the Packers, I know, or the Patriots? With which team did the Seahawks trade with to select DK Metcalf? Eagles, Texans, Packers, or Patriots? We'll see how well everyone's been listening. Not everybody's tuned in. Eagles, Texans, Packers, or Patriots? Time is
one cut human being.
Woo! Yes, they were listening. They were paying attention. 48 of you got this right and correct, as it was the Evil Empire, the Patriots, with Darth Belichick. All right. So, Steezy, I expect you to get this one because I know both you guys have had this question before. Steez?
Yes, sir. I try to pride myself on not making the same mistake twice. And so, yeah, I got it wrong the first time. Got it right the second time.
Squabbo. Coach Marsh.
We're going all over. Anakin Skywalker just showed up on the comment screen too here. Yeah, I'd kick myself off this thing if I didn't get this one right. So,
okay. All right. So points all around. 7. Steezy with the lead. 7. Squabbo with 5. And
I don't think Steezy's missed one yet.
Yeah. Did I miss something, or you're just saying he's perfect?
No, I'm saying he's gotten every single.
He's on fire.
He's on fire, man. He's lighting it up. 7-5-3. Steezy with the hot hand. Let's see who's hot in YouTube. Schmiller Dog trades place with Norb's Beard. A little shifted, not much. This is a tight game. Schmiller Dog with 43-26. Norb's Beard, 12 points behind that. MC Stove on Yapoo, 2 points behind that. DJ Metcalf, 62 points behind that one. And then Divorce here, 42-53 at the bottom. Sheeb has a streak with 5 correct answers in a row. All right, next question. Go ahead, number 8. What Native American tribe's masks did the first Seahawks logo draw inspiration from? Chinook, Kawakawakawakwa, Spokane, or Yakima? Which American tribe did the original Seahawks logo draw inspiration from? Chinook, Kawakawakawakwa, Spokane, or Yakima? Try to say that 10 times fast. Time is up. The correct answer is the one that most of YouTube didn't pick. It's the one that is hard to say. Kawakawakawakawa. I didn't say that right. Kawakawakawakawa. Kawakawakawakawa. It sounds like Pac-Man enunciations. All right, 11 of you got that one. Tricky one. I did not know that. I had no idea about that one. Steez, does your perfect record stay perfect?
Just like you, Norb, I had no clue. I went to an elementary school. I went to multiple elementary schools. One of them was called Chinook Elementary, and so I got Chinook from there, and I kind of just said Chinook Elementary. I said Chinook.
So the 7-game winning streak or 7-point streak comes to an end, but he still got the lead. Squabbo hot on his tail. Does he close the gap to 1? Squabs.
There's also a Chinook building at Wazoo. And a Chinook gym, actually. So I too said Chinook.
Gerard Everest says in the comments, that doesn't even sound real. Come on. Coach Marsh, how about you?
Yeah, that's because you're not pronouncing it right. It's Quackawak. And so it's actually going back to when I first went to the Kingdom. So I remember hearing the story about that specific place. So yeah, I get the point on that one.
Oh,
the elder statesman, almost elder statesman.
Okay, all right. Wait, so how do you pronounce it?
Quack-waka-wak.
Quack-waka.
Which I've totally made up, but I did get the answer correct.
Okay.
All right. I did know. I knew it was that. I know the history of it, but I don't know exactly how to pronounce that specific name.
All right. Well, there we go. We learn something new every day. So now, anytime anyone ever asks you, for those guys who are watching now, you'll know what to say when they say, hey, do you guys know where that logo comes from the old school Seahawks from the 70s and 80s? You just say, it's from the Kawakawakawaka tribe.
Well, the accent's either on the ka or the wa.
What's that?
The accent's either on the ka or the wa, right?
Yeah. Just remember, think Pac-Man, and you'll get it right. Waka waka waka.
I thought it was the one song from High School Musical. You know what I'm talking about? Nobody. The Waka Waka. Waka Waka. I don't know how it goes, but it's all like in Hawaiian and stuff, and they're all, it's the second one. Y'all out there know High School Musical. Leave in the comment section what is the name of that song, Kwaka Waka Nama Naka Who, or whatever, how it goes. But it's a great song. You guys are on culture for that. Norb with two dogs.
Hold on, I gotta wait. Okay, we're back. Are we back? We had a glitch. We had a lag, but I think we're back. Are we back? Somebody confirm that we're back.
Was there a tweet that went out, or is anybody, maybe someone could put it in the chat? I mean, I've seen about 8 of them that Pete Carroll said this and that, so I'm just kind of coming out north, because everything I've seen up through this afternoon was that he wasn't playing, wouldn't come out till the following week.
So it's Humu Numu Kunu Kuapawa is the name of the song. Hold on, I'm about to post it in the chat. I got you.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the fish from, there's a fish. I don't know if it's the actual national fish for Hawaii, the Humu Humu Nuku Nuku Apua'a. That's the fish in Hawaii. I'm just looking. I'm just checking to see. I'm checking to see if there's any announcements about that.
I've seen quite a few in the chat, so.
I haven't seen anything yet in my little thread. Oh, it says Chris Carson, questionable, is going to try. He's going to try. I'll take try.
Try?
I'll take try.
That one, Norb. Try?
Do not. There is no try.
There he is. Just speak to the guy.
All right, let's keep this rolling. What were we doing? Wait, we got the scores, right? We got that score, so now it's YouTube scoreboard. Okay, here we go. Okay, a little shift. The Russell MVP moves up to the top, and everybody else just slides one down. Shmurley Dog to second, Norb's Beard to third, MC Stove on Yapu in fourth, and DJ Metcalf in fifth. Russie is the highest climber, up 26 places, trying to get up there to the top 5. Here we go. Next question. Number 9, true or false? The Seahawks had 7 draft picks in the 2020 NFL Draft. True or false? It's easy. It kind of can drive you nuts, though. The Seahawks had 7 draft picks in the 2020 NFL Draft. True or false? Time is up. I got this one wrong, too. I said true. The answer is false. Pretty straightforward. Steezy, 2-point lead, looking good at this point, but we got double trouble coming up, so you're going to need every point you can get. What you got?
I said false. We started off with 4 and ended with 11. So,
wow, you're on it. You're on it. Squabo.
I said false because I remember us having more. I didn't remember how many more.
Okay, so keeps pace, keeps that 2-game lead, and Bill trying to keep the pace with Squabo. Coach Marsh.
False, definitely 11. I definitely follow the old draft.
All right, so before we hit the double trouble here, we've got 8 points to Steezy, 6 to Squabo, and 5 to Coach Marsh. Let's check the YouTube scoreboard for an update. Oh, big changes here on that question. MC Stove on Yapu is in first place. DJ Metcalf in second. Norb's Beard to third, stays at third. Robert Potts to the top 5 for the first time at fourth. And Nick LeBeau sneaks back in at number 5. Rampancy is up 21 places, the highest climber behind the scenes. And now we get to the good stuff. Double value questions right here. Number 10. Double points. What was Russell Wilson's passer rating in Super Bowl 49? 125.1? 113.8, 109.5, or 110.6. Russell Wilson's passer rating in Super Bowl 49. 125.1, 113.8, 109.5, or 110.6. You have 3 seconds. Time is up. Oh, a tricky one there. This is a good question. I might have asked this at one point, but I'm not sure. I can't remember. The correct answer, 12 of you got correct. 110.6 was Wilson's passer rating. Would have been a little bit higher if not for one final play. Let's go to the YouTube or the panel scoreboard. Double points here. Chance for Steezy to really jump out ahead. What you got?
I said 110. Once again, I was trying to play it safe. I want to stay in the middle. And what was the other number? 113. And stuck with 110.
Wow, Steezy with a sizable lead. Gets double digits after the first double point question. That is impressive. Squabo is going to need this if he wants to keep pace.
Oh, I got it. Pattern analysis. We'll talk about it after.
Oh, okay. He's getting into the numerology of things here. 8 points with the double one. Coach Marsh. Bill, what you got?
Yeah, even though I'm not a big fan of the old passer rating, I did know in the Super Bowl his 110.6 and where it stacks all time. So that is the number.
Impressive.
I'm not a believer behind it.
Impressive. Most impressive. Which Star Wars movie was that from?
That would be Empire Strikes Back.
Bingo! What happened? What scene was it?
That is when he is fighting against him in the. Well, I'm not going to delay our show based on me not getting the right scene. I can picture the scene, but not where it takes place.
All right, that's fine. All right. Well done. All right, let's go to the scoreboard. See what changes here. Oh, Norb's beard back on top. How many times does Norb's beard keep coming up and then disappearing? But it's back. Sheeb in second. Tyler Greaves in third. MC Stove on Yapu in fourth. And DJ Metcalf in fifth. Go Hawks has a streak with 4 correct answers, though, behind the scenes. Next double question. Number 11. How many NorbCam trivia contests have there been as of November 11th, not including this one? 27, 28, 29, or 30? And to be honest, I had no idea. How many NorbCam trivia contests have there been as of November 11th? 27, 28, 29, or 30? Just basically everyone, not including this one. 27, 28, 29, or 30? Some of you guys got this correct. Had to have been a lucky guess. 17 guessed 29. I had no idea. I really had no idea how many trivias we've done. That blows me away. 29 trivias. Kidding me? All right. Steezy's been here for most of those, if not all of them. Can he win this number 30? I would make this number 30. But right now he's in the lead with a chance to basically, well, not insurmountable. Well, no, it would be insurmountable if he gets this question right. Does he?
No, it's not.
Win it?
No, because if I get it right, too, we're at the same deficit.
Oh, that's true. You're right. But how exciting are we getting here? Are we closing the gap? Steezy, you're shaking your head. I take that as a no.
I said 20. I said 28.
Oh, went with the under. Missed it by one. So Squab has a chance to tie the game here. Squabs.
Pattern-based analysis. I got this one right. 29.
Ooh, he's got it. Ties the game at 10 points apiece with one answer to go. Coach Marsh, you're not out of the You're not out of the woods yet. No, you're out of the woods. No, you can still win this thing. You can still win this thing with two.
Yeah, but I didn't use PBA as part of figuring this one out, so I went with 30 as a lucky guess.
Went with the over and didn't get it. So that puts you squarely at third, no matter what happens here. But a very, very well fought effort there, Bill. Sorry you didn't get that one. Now, for your first time out, that's pretty good. You should see me when I had to do trivia.
Seahawks are in the top 3 right now in the division.
That's
right?
true. That's true. And there's more games to go. All right, let's check out the scoreboard here with one question left. Will Norb's beard be there? I say no. No, it's not. It drops to fourth. Sheeb in first, DJ Metcalf in second, Robert Potts in third, Norb's beard to fourth, and Go Hawks in fifth. And Sheeb's got a 3-answer streak, puts Sheeb in first place. But can they protect it? The final answer now. The final question right here. Number 12. Double points. Against which team do the Seahawks have the best winning percentage? The Houston Texans, the Minnesota Vikings, the Chicago Bears, or the Carolina Panthers? Against which team do the Seahawks have the best winning percentage? Texans, Vikings, Bears, or Panthers? Which team do they have the best winning percentage? Texans, Vikings, Bears, or Panthers? Oh, you two thought it was Vikings, which is an easy one to choose because they've had this streak. But we're talking all time. It's the Texans, Houston Texans. I'd love to see what the actual number is. If Rishi, if you're on here, I'd like to know what it is. So let's see if our panel, what's going to happen here. We could have a tie. We could have a winner. Who knows? But Steezy, it's on you right here. Chance to at least play for the tie, if not win, right here.
Well, I was thinking Houston, but as like you just said, I fell into that trap, and I was like, hold on. We have Minnesota's number, so let's not overthink things, and let's go Minnesota. So I said Minnesota.
Oh, that was my guess, too, when I did this practice run. I totally forgot about Houston. But did Squabo forget about Houston?
So I looked at all four of these options. And Carolina, they beat us too much, in my opinion, so I said no. Chicago definitely beat us too much, so I said no. Minnesota, obviously the favorite. Houston, kind of like, I don't remember, like, I remember we beat them a couple times. I don't remember our record against them.
We haven't played them that much.
Exactly. And I was looking at Minnesota, and, like, that's the obvious answer. And then I remembered a question we had earlier that I got wrong, but I would have got right had I used – I just kind of took notes, kind of what Bill was talking about. You set stuff up in the first quarter for later on in the ball game.
Yeah, exactly.
Earlier, when we were doing the question about the Seahawks logo and where it comes from, and that name, Waka 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 Waka, or whatever it is, was like on there, I was like, why on earth would that be there if it wasn't the answer? But I still went away from it and went to Chinook. With this answer, there were 3 NFC teams and 1 AFC team. And I'm thinking to myself, why is that team there? And I said it's because they're the answer, and I said the Texans.
Woo! So with that answer, Squabo in the final moment of the game, losing behind the front runner, Steezy, for the whole game at the last second on a last-minute field goal or touchdown or a Hail Mary, gets the 12 points to take the lead and essentially win the game. Squabo, congratulations. Wow, well played, sir. Well played. You had Rishi figured out. You figured out his pattern, man. And you got to talk about that in a second, how you got that. But, Bill, at least to get you close to double digits, did you get this one figured out?
Well, there's a lot of people out there who do play the numbers, and so I think I'm going to give some people a bad beat here because I took it the same way I did early in the first quarter where we ran a running play, and I thought it was CenturyLink and Quest Field as part of my answer. So I went with the same process of going Houston, Texas, and Houston Oilers and combined the two of them together and knew that we had a really solid record against the Houston Oilers back in the day. So I put those two together based on a run play that didn't work earlier to set up the bootleg pass later that ended up getting it. So while I don't win, I will end up getting a bad beat for people because people were expecting me to lose by at least 5, and I've covered by only losing by 3, I think, here.
So you guessed, you're saying after all that.
Houston Texans because I figured that he has combined Houston, both teams, just as I thought we were combining, adding the 2 stadiums when I missed it by 1 point earlier in a question.
So that was your answer? You did pick Houston?
Houston.
Okay.
I did pick.
Okay, I got you. I was trying to figure out exactly what you're saying your answer
Houston
was.
Texans and Houston Oilers, I combined them.
Interesting. I would not have thought to combine them. But against the Texans, have we even lost to them? I feel like I only have 2 games in my memory that I even remember. The game where 2013 where we got behind 20-0 and then came back to win it. And then, of course, the shootout back in 2017, was it?
Yeah.
I don't remember before then. Steezy, you had something?
Yeah, no, Rishi, he laid out all the numbers here. He said Texans were 3-1, so 75%. Vikings were 12-5 for 70.6%. Bears were 11-5 for 68.8%, and then the Panthers were 8-3, so 72.7%.
Yeah, and these games are tricky because you have that short-term memory. Like the Vikings, we just remember they've beaten them like 6 times in a row, right? So you just think right away it's the Vikings, but you forget they're all time. This isn't just the Russell Wilson era. This is forever, so it goes a long way back. So yeah, it's an interesting sample size, but good one. Well done, Rishi. Nice trivia. Now we got to get the winner of the actual contest on YouTube. So here we go. for the
Squad was
podium.
using algorithms and everything else here, so that's difficult.
In third place with 7 out of 12 is DJ Metcalf. In second place with 7 out of 12 is Schmitterdog. And in first place with 9 out of 12 questions correct with 88.49 is Sheeb. Sheeb is the winner. Sheeb and the runners-up, Decards and Robert Potts. So Sheeb, congratulations on the win. Screenshot that winning screen there and email it to me at norb@norbcam.com. It's right coming down the scroll right over there, just so I can know who you are, or you can say it in the chat there. Congratulations. Well played. Very well played. So, that was fun. Nicely done, Rishi, with the trivia. Enjoyed that very much. That was a lot of good questions in there. And congratulations, Squabs. Nice job to come from behind to get the win. Steezy, man, you were so on fire at 7 in a row, and then just down the stretch, couldn't hold the lead. But, man, 10-point finish, nothing to feel bad about. And Coach Marsh, for his first time out, getting 9 points, getting it pretty close, giving him a run.
I'll take it.
That's good,
I tried
man.
not to go into a prevent defense there at the end. I see, I don't know if you see the Wu-Tang Life put some interesting stats out there. It must be in 14-3-1 in prime time, and Russell being 7-1 at home in prime time. So some good.
Well, definitely
being put up there.
Definitely has the numbers to go with him to favor a possible outcome. So we will see what happens here. But all right, well, it's Wednesday. Tomorrow's game day. It's weird, these early games, it's just so quick. But it's kind of nice, though, because you don't have to lament over the whole week about the loss. You kind of get to get right to the next one and get it out of your system and get right to the next game. So it'll be fun watching them prime time. But, man, hopefully some of these keys that we talked about, Seattle can execute. Because I'm sure we all have a lot of these good keys that if they are able to actually do, we could win this game, even as much as right now it feels like it. The odds are not in our favor. What is the spread on this game? Do you guys know? Because I thought when it first came out, we were actually favored.
-3. Seattle -3, which means just the home field advantage. Home field gives you 3. Not that I pay attention to that stuff.
You paid attention enough to know that, but still, I'm still surprised though. I'm surprised that Seattle's. I mean, yeah, like you said, they're favored because of the home team, but I'm surprised. I'm just surprised that
they're 6-3, and they battled close to last game, and obviously one's coming in on hot play at the end of the game, and we're coming in pretty off. But basically, that to me, that what it's saying is on a neutral field that they play equal. So
yeah, well, with that being said, it'll be a good game. Taker 610 in the super chat says no more Legion of Gloom. No more Legion of Gloom. So I don't know if that's saying he thinks we've had the Legion of Gloom and now it's going to change and we will be happier. I guess that's maybe what he's saying, that the gloom is over. It's going to be better tomorrow. The weather will be crap, but that's going to be sunshine as far as the Seattle performance is going to be like. Well, I'll take it that way. So, all right, before we wrap things up, I'm going to give all of our guests a chance to, of course, talk about their shows and whatever they have to promote. So let's start with Steezy A. Smith. Go ahead and tell everybody what you got going and what you're all about.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to give a huge thank you to the audience, to everybody that's watching. I mean, as Norb talked about earlier, Noah and I both hit milestones, and without you guys, that wouldn't have happened. And I don't know, to me, it still feels so surreal. I'm over here just like wow, off of one stream, like we both really did that, and I can't thank you guys enough. And Norb, like as always, it's always a pleasure being on here. Noah, you're the one who brought it to people's attention. I just thank you guys so much, once again. And Brian, it was a pleasure, being able to talk Seahawks football with you. And so, I don't take this for granted every single Wednesday. I look forward to doing this, yeah, but if you guys haven't already, please be sure to show everybody some love. Noah, Norb, Brian, be sure to smash that like button to subscribe to everybody. You guys can find me, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all socials, at Steezy A. Smith, SteezyASmith. We also have a fan page, and if you guys weren't aware of that, if you guys could, show that some love and start, hopefully go on that page. We all put out a whole lot of content, and that fan page has done a pretty good job so far of not capturing everything, but they try to repost, a lot of our things. And so, once again, I'm just super, super, super grateful, thankful. blessed by the best. Thank you guys. I love you guys, and that's it for me.
All right, let's go up to Squabo. Squabo, tell everybody where to find you and what you got going this week.
Hey man, shout out Steve's, man, once again for hitting 1,000 subscribers, one of the biggest milestones in a YouTube career, if not the biggest. And I'm with Coach over here, man. Let's get Norb, man. Screw 50K, man. Let's get Norb to 100K. Let's run him up, man.
Run it up.
It's destined to happen. It'll happen sooner than we think, and I can't wait to watch it happen. On my channel, I'm just past 500 subscribers, and I'm so grateful, but I could always use some more, so definitely go check it out. Today, I just posted a video. As many of you guys know, I'm a student at Washington State University. Also, I was very lucky to get the job as a sports director for the TV station, meaning in the Pac-12 games where there's not any fans allowed, I was lucky and fortunate enough to get media credentials, and I made a vlog about the game Wazoo versus Oregon. I'm also going to make a vlog for the Apple Cup coming up here in 2 weeks, or just a little bit over a week now. So definitely go show my channel some love. I post Seahawks content. I have that one video about everything wrong with the Seahawks, and it kind of rang true last week with a lot of the things that Seattle still kept doing wrong. But also the most recent vlog, go check it out, please. And always, go Hawks.
All right. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on over there, man. Proud of what you guys, you and Steezy, are doing. It's fantastic. And I just want to mention one of the mods, Wizard. He's also one of the staff guys on the Discord. If you guys haven't joined the Discord yet, make sure you do it. I think I have it listed in the description. For those of you who aren't familiar, Discord is a pretty cool place because it's not only a place where you can chat it up, but it's also where if you want to join me on my live streams and be on camera, that's the one place that you can do it during the games. So check it out. We're almost to 1,000 members on Discord, which is pretty awesome. But I've got a great team of guys led by Brett Lorraine, the son of Mike Lorraine, my business partner. He actually was the one who got this whole Discord thing started, but he's got a great group of guys who are helping run this thing. So I appreciate you guys for handling the Discord. So thank you for making that thing work so well. So go check it out. Certainly, last but certainly not least, our newest guest here on the show, my good friend, Coach Bill Marsh. Go ahead, man. Let people know what you're up to. Besides, we talked about your being a coach at Eastside Catholic, but haven't really talked about much what else. So feel free to let them know what you're up to.
I have to say I've had an absolute blast, both on Monday as well as today, and as the other two guys said. I mean, let's definitely go into the 2-minute offense with getting the subscribers up for these guys because they just do such a phenomenal job, and it's been fun listening to them and their energy and passion, which is great. Basically, you can find me on my website, which is Marsh Ventures with a V, marshventuresllc.com. And what I do is I do a lot of motivational speaking. I was a coach for 26 years, and then I became extremely ill, and I had to stop coaching and was basically off my feet for 2 years. And then just a miracle happened, was able to get back on my feet. And now I do a lot of motivational talks, and I do a lot of consulting, both pretty much with nonprofit groups, but other companies as well, especially if they're associated with kids, just because I have a big passion, a big believer for that. So I'm just so thankful that Norb's given me this opportunity to come on and talk X's and O's and just give back to the game that I love so very much. So again, marshventuresllc.com is where you can find me for motivational talks. I do a lot of stuff even virtually to be able to connect with communities and connection points there. So a lot of fun.
Oh, hey, man, it's been great having you on here and reconnecting with you on our show Monday and then here today. You bring great insight, and it's fun to have a coach because, you know, a lot of times we're all armchair quarterbacks here, but you actually lived it for a long time and had all kinds of experience of being in the trenches with your players. And so I love what you bring insight-wise to these discussions. So appreciate you being on here, man. So again,
and my friend, my friend Sherman Smith, he was a running back for a long time, and then he was a long-time coach here and coached for 20 plus years, and he was my high school football team on a weekly basis, and now he's just retired a couple years ago. So I have that insight as well, having gone to quite a few practices and stuff like that beyond just the average fan going inside and seeing the war room and those type of things. So even though I coached in high school, I bring, I think, a lot of brevity to the game in terms of having some fun insight and background in terms of what took place in those meetings and everything else. So a lot of fun to be able to finally share some of those things here with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate it. So again, give all these guys some love. Check out in the description and subscribe to the YouTube channels. Follow them on their socials. We do this every Wednesday. So we have early time today. We started at 4. Well, technically, I think it was like 4:15 by the time we got rolling. But normally 5 o'clock is our show. And this is what we do, just breaking down Seahawks' previous opponent and the next opponent. And but for everybody else who was here today, I appreciate you guys. We had a really good turnout. We had like 260 or so strong throughout the entire show, which is awesome. So thank you to everybody who, especially those who super chatted. Appreciate your support. Everybody who just chatted to add to the conversation. But for just all of you guys who are just here watching, staying through the whole thing, playing the trivia. Hope you guys had as much fun as we did doing it for you. So join me for the live stream tomorrow night. I'll be talking during the game, reacting to the game live with my dad right here in the studio again tomorrow to hopefully watch this team win. Watch the Seahawks get this victory and get off the schneid. So that's it. So appreciate you guys being here. Let's get this done tomorrow. Let's get it done. Let's go Hawks, baby. Let's go Hawks. See you later.